It's a Tuesday edition of the Bill Michaels Show. We are glad you're with us, and we hope that you had a relaxing weekend. Coming back from whatever it is you did. Hopefully you remembered what the weekend was all about at some point and said thanks to maybe somebody that was a veteran or somebody in the military. But nevertheless, a good weekend had by all. At least the weather cooperated for the most part. Saturday was a little bit iffy. But beyond that, it was a nice Friday. It was a nice Sunday. It was a nice Monday, and had a good time over the weekend. Ben, how you doing, man?
I'm great, Bill. I'm tremendous.
Yeah?
Got a little sun, maybe a little too much sun, but you know, I'm in the early stages of getting less pale. So it's I would say it's challenging to start, and then it gets easier as the day goes along. But no, I had a great weekend. The weather was unbelievable.
It was really good. I can't complain about the weekend. Yesterday, I tell you what, it was a whirlwind because we were up north, we were down south, we were all over the place. Got on the motorcycle a little bit. Friday we ended up leaving the War Memorial and packed up the car and headed up north. Got up to Pembine and did the bar downstairs at Pembine. Probably had a little bit too much, but that was okay because we weren't driving anywhere. So the next morning left the island and went down to Peshtigo, down to our friends at Forgotten Fire Winery, which is a fantastic place. First of all, we were going to go down and do some wine tasting. They got to have like 30 different types of wine. And I think we tasted them all. And we bought more than a few bottles, so we brought some home with us, but they do a lot of cool stuff, and there was some music, and they had some food that they were serving, and really cool. And they went back to his friend's house, which our friend Barb in Peshtigo, who works with Four Seasons, and I shattered my tooth. So one of the teeth that I had a temporary cap put on, and the post underneath it and such, I shattered it. And I bit into I don't even know what I was eating, but I bit into something and it tasted sandy. It was like really weird. It was grainy. And sure enough, I shattered my tooth. So from Saturday morning until this morning at 6 a.m., I lived with this sharp shard of tooth, which completely shredded my tongue over the weekend. However, I still had a good time. We ended up going to, we came home on Sunday. We drove home to 3 hours, jumped on the motorcycle, went back up an hour away to Grafton on the back roads to a birthday party, and then drove back home that night. And then yesterday went down to Lake Geneva, down to Fontana, where we went down to the Abbey Resort and hung by the pool all day and didn't do a damn thing. So that was the weekend. Did you play any golf?
I did. I don't know how many people care about the ongoing saga that is my golf experiences on weekends, but Bill, it is safe to say that the swing is back. I'm almost completely back.
Now, when you say back, is it back to good or back to bad?
Back to good.
Okay.
Like back to I was more than competent and I feel tremendous.
Okay. Gotcha. I'm just checking, because sometimes when you say it's back, that means it's back to being bad. And we have witnessed that frequently. So
no, I'm talking like Michael Jordan posts the letter, like message from Michael Jordan. I'm back, level back.
Okay. Well, that's good news. So there you go. So Ben's game is back. I'm hoping to get out and swing a club at some point this week, because I have I got the golf outing / cigar dinner coming up on Monday out at Ironwood in Sussex. So, and I have not swung a club yet this year. I got to get out and do it. At some point I gotta do something about this, but that's, I gotta see if I can at least swing but the nice thing is that it's just 9 holes. So if I'm playing really well, I can walk away feeling good. If I'm playing really bad, I can say, well, I'm only bailing after 9 holes. I don't have to sustain this agony through 18 at this point. So at least I can play 9 holes, get it in, see how I'm doing, and then kind of go from there. So looking forward to that. Other than that, hopefully all of you had a good weekend as well. Again, 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up, feel free. You can find us over on Twitter at Bill_Michaels, at Bill_Michaels, or at Ben Z Kenny. Find us over on the Facebook fan page. Go to facebook.com/ The Bill Michaels Show, facebook.com/ The Bill Michaels Show. You can find us there as well. You can also track us down on YouTube. Appreciate it when you look and subscribe on YouTube. You can find us over there. And pay attention also by simply going to facebook.com/ The Bill Michaels Show. YouTube, you can find us at youtube.com/ Bill Michaels Show, and same over on Twitch TV. You can email the program, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. And don't forget, always find us on Spotify, Apple iTunes, and on Google Podcasts after the fact. Rick says, enjoy the winery tour. I did. It was the winery of the Forgotten Fire Winery. First of all, it's an amazing story, and they really aren't snooty or. It's interesting when you talk to people who like wine. There's some people who like wine as connoisseurs. They can taste the oaks and the tannins and all the different things in the wine, and it's red wine and meats and white wines and fishes, and and certain things you do and don't do, and oh my God, if you put ice in a glass of wine, and it's sacrilege, and and these people are like, look, here's our shelf. We've won awards. They've had a Merlot or some red wines that they've taken out to California, and they've won. They won. I mean, they can come back and pound their chest over that, and they go, yeah, our wine's right up there with everybody else's, But these are the guys and girls. Chris and Melissa are the owners, and Jake is the winemaker. They don't care. Just go enjoy it. If you like it, great. Go drink it however you want to drink it. You want to put 7-Up in it? Put 7-Up in it. They don't care. They literally are the fun in a bottle group. And they make wine that they'll tell you, here, buy 4 bottles, drink this bottle today. And then this bottle in 4 months or 3 months or 6 months or whatever. And it's only going to get better over time. And there's a peak to wine. You go through the whole wine tasting thing of what you like and you don't like. And then they've got these ciders. They've got this cinnamon, brown sugar cider wine that's got a carbonation to it. Oh my God, was that good? I brought home growlers of that stuff. So it really is a cool place. Forgotten Fire Winery. It's up in Peshtigo. And it was in the history of the winery. Like Jake, who's the winemaker, started out digging post holes. He was in construction, helping them build the building, and became friends with the owners. And then they kind of figured out how to make wine, and we're making better wine, and we're making it at home, and then started making it in these big vats. And now there's a science to it, and goes through the school. And now he's got all these wines, and they're fantastic. So we really, really enjoyed the winery tour. So I would highly recommend just stopping in, going through a tasting. They've got a great little, it's almost like a bar. This bar out front, these wine barrel tables and these bar stools and these chairs, and you sit down and you relax and you have a glass or two, and then you just figure out what you like and you take it home. It's just really cool stuff. So yes, Rick, thank you for asking. I absolutely loved and enjoyed the winery tour up there, Forgotten Fire Wines. So the big stuff over the weekend, you could look at the Brewers. You could say, well, the Brewers, not only did they get a couple of wins over the Cubs, but they did it with some young arms, which was great. To see Smalls come in and pitch extremely well, which was a breath of fresh air, because you were kind of biting your nails when you heard that Woodruff went down. Now, the good news for Woodruff is that it's an ankle sprain, because I all of a sudden I looked up. I was watching a game, and I was watching what was going on, and I looked up, and all of a sudden I was like, wait, what? Why is Woodruff leaving? And they didn't have the sound up in the bar, so I didn't get a chance to hear. So then you come to find out, Woodruff's going to the IL, and he's got the ankle, the 15-day IL with a right high ankle sprain. Now, you hope that he misses 2 starts. That's it. He suffered the injury on Friday night at St. Louis when he pitched 4 innings and a loss. He's 5-3, 4.74 ERA in 9 games this season. He's had on again, off again success, but don't forget, Freddie Peralta went on the 15-day IL on May 23rd, had that right posterior shoulder strain. But Woodruff was experiencing some pain when he was throwing. And next thing you know, it's a high ankle sprain. Now, Ben, did you ever see a video or a replay or a highlight of him twisting the ankle?
No. What I read was that he kind of tweaked it when warming up for the 5th inning.
So, because I never saw any video of this, I'm thinking, did he fall down the stairs? Is there something we didn't know about? You know, because he looked okay in the first 4 innings. And all of a sudden, he was laboring. And now they call it a high ankle sprain, which a high ankle, that's difficult. High ankle sprain, it's not like you just roll your ankle and you know, walking down a step or something. High ankle sprain's a little different, and it's painful. Sometimes if you get a severe high ankle sprain, you'd rather break your leg than have a severe high ankle sprain because it just hurts. It's painful. So I would love to know the details as to exactly what happened and how this came about. But he just said, I don't think it's going to be a long month-long deal or anything. I'm just hoping it's going to be a couple of weeks and I get back out there and I'll have the rest of these first couple of days and let everything else calm down. But they just said it was a high ankle sprain. Weird. Just another weird facet to the pitching staff this season. But they continue to plug away. So that's the good news is that, yeah, he went on the IL, but it doesn't appear to be something where he like rolled it over or he was trying to cover first base and rolled it on the base and then fell down to where it looked like it snapped, but it didn't. And it's a really severe high ankle sprain. This looked like it was just when he came down on it, something just tweaked. And like he said, maybe, quote, it'll calm down. So hopefully that's all it is for Woodruff. But the Brewers just plugging right along. They pick up 2 again yesterday. 2 again yesterday against the Chicago Cubs. Brewers right now 4 games up on the Cardinals, 32-18. 14 games over 500 on the season. The Cubs sitting there at 12 games back now, 19-29. Cincinnati 16-31. And by the way, Cincinnati still with the absolute worst record in Major League Baseball. Although the Royals are giving them a run for their money because I believe the Royals are now 16-31 too, if I read that correctly this morning, but I'd have to go back and look. But Cincinnati stinks. So they're still 4 games up on the Cardinals, which is all you can ask for at this point. Brewers have now won 3 in a row. They split with the Cards, get 2 over the Cubs, back at it again tonight. Good to go. Good to go. 877-867-1671. Hit us up. Please feel free to go ahead and do so. Rick says high ankle sprains, they don't heal fast. No, you're right. They don't. They don't heal fast. But if it's not a roll or something, then it can be just a couple of weeks. But if he rolled that thing over, then it's probably a month. I'm gonna err on the side of 3 weeks, which is probably going to be 2-3 starts for him that he'll end up missing. That's kind of what I'm looking at. We'll wait and see what actually happens, though. So if you want to give us a shout, feel free. If you want to chime in, go ahead. Packers back at it when it comes to the OTAs. The match coming up tomorrow night. The finals are now set in the NBA, and the Bucks have lost an assistant. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's all coming up next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Wisconsin isn't snobby, snooty, or pretentious. It's Midwestern charm at its finest. And that's exactly what Forgotten Fire Winery in Peshtigo is all about. Fun in a bottle without the attitude. You can find their full wine and cider lineup in their tasting room or in liquor and grocery stores throughout the state. The winery is a great place to get away for wine and cider tastings, great live music, and private events all year long. Remember, any time is a great time for Forgotten Fire wines and ciders. Wisconsin wine made from Wisconsin people.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
And a fly ball towards right. Long run, Tyrone Taylor, and it is going to be caught. Yes! An unbelievable catch by Tyrone Taylor. And Tyrone Taylor, lift off, deep left and gone. One pitch from Hughes, and it's in the bleachers.
Yeah, I mean that catch was a heck of a play too. That's the other play that kind of gets us out of an inning, and then the homer to give us some breathing room. He had a wonderful day, and he's had a wonderful road trip.
Welcome back to the program, Bill Michaels Show. We continue on, and what a weekend it was. Brewers get a couple of wins. Tyrone Taylor gets his name out there more than a few times. They sweep the Cubs, fly the L on a deuce. And they're back at it again this evening. Anytime you beat the Cubs is a good thing. Would you consider, Ben, are the Cubs or the Cardinals the primary rival of the Brewers now?
Well, Ebo is right next to me.
It's the Cubs!
I know Ebo's thoughts. He is a big anti-Cub guy. I feel like just because of how good they are, like the thing about baseball, I feel like as years go by, minus Red Sox, Yankees, you kind of have rivalries develop based on who competes for the division. So I feel like it's the Cardinals because they're the other team that could go and beat the Brewers for that. The Cubs aren't really a threat. It's kind of like beating up on little brother at this point.
It's see, my thought is it's the Cubs. That's my thought. And I agree with Ebo in that sense because we just can't stand Cubs fans. I had my complete fill. And not all Chicago people are bad. Let me say that because I ran into a couple of people up at Four Seasons over the weekend, and they were just tremendous people. They were really nice. They were fun, and they're from Illinois. But then you go down to Lake Geneva, down to Fontana, and it was an S show. It just, you just understand the difference in Wisconsinites and values versus Chicagoans and character or lack thereof. And so that I completely, it was just like two different worlds. So Cubs fans overtaking Miller Park and singing Go Cubs Go and all that kind of stuff. That is kind of the we can't stand you with the little brother complex. I get it. But I agree with you when it comes to actual competitiveness. It's the Cardinals. The Cardinals have been more the mainstay in the last decade Even though the Cubs have had some good teams and the Cubs have had some playoff appearances, the team now we don't hate had Tony La Russa stayed with St. Louis, we would hate the Cardinals with more of a passion. But their fans aren't nearly as obnoxious. Their fans are more blue blood, thinking they're the elite of the elite when it comes to their place in history, and they are what they consider to be the National League version of the New York Yankees. Cincinnati fans, they're just happy to have some wins under their belt, and they still live off of the Big Red Machine and then the years of Lou Piniella. But since then, they haven't done anything. Their franchise is a shambles. Pittsburgh, you go back to We Are Family. Since then, pretty much mired and sucked them. They're pathetic. So Cubs fans, because of their recent success in their World Series, the level of arrogance has gone up, and the fact that they love to come here because it's a short drive and it's so much cheaper than going to Wrigley, that's the reason they infiltrate here, and we hate it. And I've always said, if you don't want them to come here, buy up the tickets and don't sell them. But we make money off of them, so that's the reason we do what we do. So I think rivalry-wise, when it comes to dislike, I think we dislike the Cubs and the Cubs fans more than we do the Cardinals and the Cardinals fans, because there is that we're only 80-something miles away, and we are the stepchild to what is considered a big city. But when it comes to baseball rivalry, it's really the Brewers and the Cardinals. Now, the Cardinals feel that the Cubs are their rival as well, because that's always been a rivalry. But I think for us, competitive balance-wise, it's the Cardinals. I think I would almost effort that. I mean, in reality, but I have to go with the gut saying the rivalry that, because even the Reds hate the Cardinals because of Yadier Molina, going back to the Brandon Phillips fight. Whereas the Reds fans hate Cubs fans. I mean, hate them because they do the same thing at Great American because really Great American's not a bad drive either. If you're on the south side of Chicago, you can get to, then again, you're probably a White Sox fan, but you can get to Cincinnati in 3.5, 4 hours tops. And it's cheaper there too, being a smaller city. So they infiltrate that place as much as they do here at American Family Field as well. So I think they hate them too. Cubs fans are universally hated. I think that's the thought. They went from being the lovable losers to the arrogant winners, back to the lovable losers who are living as an arrogant winner, and they don't know where the hell they're at when it comes to society within baseball. That's a great way to describe it. 877-867-1670. Is that a good way to put it, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, I was with a bunch of them all weekend, and I can confirm. I can't say they have much hope with the team right now. That might be why they're now quiet.
Confirm.
But oh yes, I completely confirm.
I can't.
I feel like, to what you were saying earlier, I feel like my most hated team and say my biggest rival are not always the same.
Right.
When you're talking
exactly
in the division.
Yes.
So Cubs will always be the most hated.
The most hated.
But then
yes. Who is
Cardinals have a shot.
Is it the Phillies and the Mets?
Yes.
That's the rival.
Because the Mets fans do the same exact thing. They drive down, except they're a little more, I would say, scumbaggy than Cubs fans. And I guess I speak from mild experience in both settings.
Right.
But man, they drive down I-95 and again, fights, and then they blame Phillies fans for starting the fights. Saw that video of the fan getting his phone thrown on the field a couple weeks ago. So yeah, it's the Mets.
Now, when it comes to fan altercation, I have always said, going back to the days of the Brewers being in the American League, but it's kind of held over a little bit. The Brewers and the Brewers and the White Sox, that was a hell of a rivalry. But when it comes to fan altercation, it's like whenever I've had a chance to witness and be at American Family Field, Cubs fans are obnoxious. They're drunk, they're partiers, they spend a lot of money. Okay, they're obnoxious, and you're kind of like, oh God, I can't wait till they leave. Twins fans, they're like just looking for a fight. They come in and all the worst fights I've ever seen at American Family Field have all been between Brewers fans and Twins fans.
Really?
I don't know why.
I would not expect
I don't know why. And I saw a Twins fan beat the hell out of a girl at American Family Field once, right out there when it was Fridays at Front Row, going back some years. Like, just started wailing on a girl who gave him crap. He was wearing a Twins jersey and he was kind of mouthing off, and she said something to him. I don't know what she said, but this guy just clocked her and down she went. And the next thing you know, I mean, it was just, it was on. It was a melee. So, and it just so happened that it happened right in front of a cop. So the cop immediately arrested the guy. But after that, it was just, they had to settle things down because it was a melee after that. But every time I've seen a fight, it's always been a Twins fan involved. Jeff said, it sounds like Packers fans. Are you kidding me, Jeff? Are you kidding me? I don't think Packers fans are welcomed. Just from when I've traveled. And years ago when I was traveling to a lot of games all the time, Packers fans, they were hated in the stadium because they took it over. They infiltrated it like Packers fans, like Cubs fans do, and chanting the "Go Pack Go" and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's annoying to fans in the National Football League. But I never saw Packers fans get into fights. Packers fans are usually pretty cordial, and especially when incoming teams come to Lambeau Field. I mean, I'll tell you this: I have never heard of, I've got nothing but praise from other fans, from Denver fans, from Pittsburgh fans, from you name it, Dallas fans. I have never heard anything but praise for, yeah, they give us a little bit of guff, but it's all in good, ribbing type of thing. But what a great place. What a lot of fun. What great fans. I've never heard anything but that coming out of Lambeau Field.
Oh, have I told you my Packers story?
So, no, go ahead.
I mean, long story short, I went up to a game. It was Thursday night, Eagles at Packers a couple years ago with my family, who are all from Philadelphia. And the environment in the stadium was perfect. It was amazing. We stayed after a bit. We watched the post-game show on Fox when they bring that whole setup. Right. And as we walk out of the stadium, it's maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours after the game ended. There's a dude in big Packer overalls just shaking all of our hands as we walk to the car, saying, enjoy your night, enjoy our stay.
Really?
It was the most gracious and courteous environment I've ever been in.
There you go. For those that want to know, there you go. That's all you needed to know. That's the way that's for the most part what I've heard coming out of Lambeau Field, experience-wise. It's always been relatively gracious. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to hit us up, feel free to go ahead and do so. 877-867-1670. And if you want to give us a shout, feel free. Going to go ahead and take a quick break. Stay tuned. I want to remind you, coming up, we've got a motorcycle ride coming up on Sunday, September 4th. And if you're on the Bud Light live stream, scan the QR code. You can get registered right there for it. Got some great prizes only for those of you who pre-register. Got to say thanks again to our great sponsors, Wisconsin Harley-Davidson, Potawatomi Hotel Casino, Bud Light, MKE Brewing, Growth Law Firm as well, protecting bikers' rights for a long, long time, and they're biker themselves. Also, the Rock Complex, Knuckleheads, and Alpine Valley. We got some great announcements coming up, hopefully this week, regarding all of that as well, as this thing continues to get bigger and better. Really, really, really looking forward to it. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Thunder is back, and you don't want to miss it. June 30th through July 3rd. It's the NASCAR Cup Quick Trip 250 and the Xfinity Series Henry 180. For tickets, go to roadamerica.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Glad to have you, the Bill Michaels Show. We keep on going. How we looking? Good stuff. This one's from Mark, who says the finals are set, but who really cares? If the Bucks aren't in it, I'm not watching. The NBA is not my cup of tea. Go Brewers. We do have the final set. The Celtics, who we thought when they beat the Bucks would dispose of the Heat. Now it took them 7 games to do so. And I don't know how much Tyler Hero not being in that series dictated the outcome. because Jimmy Butler, when this thing went back to Boston, and remember, Ben, last week I said, you know what, I can't sit here and put a lot of money on Boston because the away team has been winning games pretty much throughout. And I really thought that Boston would probably close it out, but I said I wouldn't bet more than $5 on it, the way the series is going. And then sure enough, it looked like the Miami Heat, because Jimmy Butler went off in game 6, and then the Miami Heat looked like they didn't even show up in game 7. And now you've got the Celtics, which the Celtics have numerous championships. They are an East Coast team. They bring the big market. You know, if the NBA had its druthers, they probably wanted the Celtics to get back into this thing, one of those, quote, blue blood teams, those founding teams of the NBA, to get one of those back in. And now you've got them and the very likable Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors and such to be. And that's going to be, you talk about road trip. That's a lot of travel when you talk about having to go that far, one end of the country to the next. So Golden State and the Celtics in it. But will you be watching? Now, Ben, does this raise a lot of interest on your part?
I'll watch. I mean, sports are sports. I usually tune into the finals, and I do like watching the Warriors play. And one of my good friends here is from that area, so I'll be watching with him. When you say one of your good friends, now are you talking about a Celtics fan? Warriors fan. He's from the Bay Area.
Okay. Well, there you go. I like Steph Curry. I like the way they kind of go about their business. They're flashy. They're a little showboaty, but they're fun. They're not arrogant. They're not, they're not that group that you just all of a sudden grow to dislike. They're a very likable bunch. The Celtics, with all of their flopping and all of their antics, they have become a group of players that I can't get behind. And it's tough because Kristen is a Celtics fan, but I can't get behind it. There's angst in the house, we'll say, because it's like, no, I'm 100% rooting against you at this point. I've said all along, though, I thought whoever would face the Warriors, the only way the Warriors would have had their hands full had it been that the Bucks would have been there, because then the Bucks have such a strong inside game, but the Bucks would have had so much trouble with the Warriors because the Warriors are so good on the outside, and the Bucks didn't defend the outside extremely well. So I thought it would have been a really interesting matchup to see who ends up prevailing. Usually, though, 3s outweigh 2s, and therefore, most likely, you would have figured Golden State would have had the advantage. I still think so in this particular case as well, regardless of whether or not Tatum and company are on the tour, so to speak, the ability to putting on the redemption tour. I just think with all the flopping and all the crying and all the screaming and Marcus Smart and company, I can't get behind it. I just can't. 877-867-1670. Max says, hey, Bill, driving up to Pembine, what did it cost you? Not that I want to get into gas prices, because it's just the political hot potato right now. We know inflation's here. I found that one of the dumbest things ever was this morning, that the one of the news anchors was talking about meat prices, and it's due to inflation. She actually said that. It's due to inflation. And I thought, you can't make more of an obvious statement. That's like looking at somebody standing on a street corner and go, they're alive because they're breathing. It's like, you got to be a moron to say that. Duh. But it's all because of the gas prices. Everything is connected to the gas prices. I've got a friend of mine who's a farmer here in the area. And what used to cost him about $500-600 is now $7,000 for this type of fertilizer they use. And he was telling me, he's like, Bill, farms are just closing up. Where the sustainability is going to be corporate farms or governmental farms for the sustainability of us, because the farmer can't do it anymore. You priced them out of the market. And so for all of this to be happening, we understand why. It's gas prices. So for me to sit here and bellyache and bitch and moan about gas prices, all I'm doing is jumping into the pool with the rest of you, because it's ridiculous. It's crazy. But yeah, I have never filled my car up for more than $40 ever. And it cost me $84 to fill my car up. And I almost fell over when I saw the final tally. So I get it. That's why I'm driving a motorcycle a lot more. You're probably going to see a lot more of those on the roadways.
You got to start doing what I do at the pump.
What's that?
No matter what, every single time I go, I put $40 in. And however much gas it gets me, that's how much gas it gets me. Okay. But I always spend $40.
Okay.
And I'm convinced it saves me money.
I have gotten to the point where if I don't, what I've tried to do is do trips that are non-repetitive. So I'm not going to go out to the west and then back to the east and then back out to the west and back to the east. I will go and do a circle, which seems to be a little time saving and mileage saving. But for the most part, I'm driving the motorcycle. The motorcycle gets 45 miles to the gallon. I mean, that's the best I can do. And this whole thing about all of a sudden, and I don't want to get too far off topic, but this whole thing about suddenly we're going to be without any gasoline cars at all come 2026. I think whoever put that out there is absolutely positively smoking rope. It's one thing to effort towards alternative fuels, but I think you're smoking rope if you just think all of a sudden you're going to cut off the world and watch the world just toil away. And because first of all, electric cars are expensive. They're not cheap. The average person can't go buy an electric car, with average income. And so I don't know what the hell direction things are going, but I agree with many of you. It's like, if I sat here and bitched about gas, I'm peeing into a fan because everybody's complaining about it. It's what you do about it, that type of thing, I guess. So yeah, it costs a little bit more to go up and back, but I tell you one thing, I was driving, not necessarily the speed limit, but I was being very careful. I was on and off the gas. I conserved. I got probably the best gas mileage I ever have out of my car. I was getting about 27 miles a gallon. So I was happy with that. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Mark says, do you ever talk any professional fishing? Mark, not really. Not really. It is not the level of mainstream that you might think it is. Don't get me wrong. I love to fish. There is nothing better than an evening as the sun is about to set. You've got a still, body of water, whether it's a farm pond or a small lake or a large lake, where it's still in its flat, and you cast that perfect cast near the shoreline. You run a jitterbug back towards the boat, only to hear that attack, that whoosh, and you got something, whatever it happens to be. Preferably for me, it would be a bass. And then to bring it in and have it anywhere from 3 to 7 pounds. More would be like icing on the cake. But then to get that rush and to be able to bring it in and fight it to bring it in is fantastic. I agree. But it is not the mainstream of talking sports. More people care more about whether or not Aaron Rodgers would pull a hammy tomorrow in the match than they would be if I reeled in a 4-pound bass on whatever lake it happens to be and yanked it out of the cattails, and I had to eventually go in and get it because it put up such a fight. No one would care. Just saying. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to hit us up? Do it. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Hey, our friends at Wisconsin Harley-Davidson remind you a good weekend. They had a great day for the honor ride on Saturday. A really good turnout, and thanks to everybody that showed up at Wisconsin Harley-Davidson. Go to wishd.com. That's wishd.com. And thanks to everybody that went on the honor ride. It means so much. They went down to the War Memorial and back. We're there for part of the ceremony. And it was just a lot of great people that were out there this past weekend. I got a really nice email from Marty who talked about the service. He ended up meeting Craig Winger, the general manager out there, said what a great guy. And the people out there treated him extremely well. He said he'll definitely be back, and he wants to be a part of our motorcycle ride coming up this year that actually ends at Wisconsin Harley-Davidson. So, Marty, thank you for the email. Thanks to all of you who showed up. And don't forget, a large plethora of inventory out there. Bikes, motor clothes, parts, accessories, and such. Go to wishd.com. That is wishd.com. Again, wishd.com for all that they have to offer. That's Wisconsin Harley-Davidson in Oconomowoc. Between Milwaukee and Madison, right there off the highway. You can't miss it. Right next to the brand new Dockhound Stadium as well. Stop in and tell everybody we said hi. And I'll probably see you out there a little bit later on today, as a matter of fact. I got to swing in and do a couple things there. Gelba says Vikings fans are the worst. Years ago, we were at a Giants-Vikings game. My son was 5 or 6 wearing his uncle's jersey that played for the Giants at the time. A couple of asshats started harassing him in the bathroom. Tough guys picking on a small kid. That's just awful. Especially in the bathroom. It's like, come on, man. Of all the places to start something, it's in the bathroom, really? You know, come on. You know? 877-867-1670. Greg says he was asking about professional fishing, not some guy hooking a bass. Come on, Bill. But isn't that what it is? Isn't most professional fishing, isn't that for bass tournaments? Correct me if I'm wrong. Greg, am I wrong? Ben, have you ever sat down with anybody in the history of you and talk professional bass fishing?
I'm going to get myself in trouble if I start talking about my thoughts on fishing.
Go ahead.
I don't know.
You don't fish is what you're saying.
I have fished and I've enjoyed it, but the watching on TV, it's not my thing.
Now, I have paid attention to like John Gillespie in the Great Midwest or Midwest Outdoors or whatever it is, and I go back to the days of Al Linder and watching that, and then doing the lures, and then taking them with me, buying them for my tackle box, but as far as sitting down and watching professional bass fishing, no. Now, the only time I've ever watched it, I'll be honest, is if, say, I went to a particular sports bar and it was on, or I was watching a baseball game and the game ended and they never changed the channel, which pisses me off at sports bars to no end. And they just let it roll to whatever it is, and then that's what comes on. And then I'll sit back and I'll be like, oh, okay, I'll watch a little bit of that. But most of the time, it's not the professional fishing. It's like the Midwest Outdoors or whatever the hell they want to call it. So I don't sit there and watch professional fishing. I couldn't tell you, to be honest with you. I could not tell you. I could not name one professional fisherman. Not one. Rick, Bill Dance Outdoors. Bill Dance Outdoors, wearing the Tennessee hat from years gone by. Bill Dance Outdoors. I watched that show too with my dad when I was a kid. But beyond that, no, I didn't. I wasn't watching professional fishing. And some of it, the stuff that I see cracks me up. It's usually where they're like pulling and they yank this fish, like yank it out of the water, and it's in the boat and it's flopping around. They hold it up and it goes in the live well. Okay, great. But then when you're watching a fishing show, they're like, they got the tension, the drag set really light. You got like a 1 pound bass in there and they're swinging it back and forth like it's dragging them all over the boat, like they've hooked Moby Dick. Oh my God. And then they finally have to net it, and it's a can of tuna. Oh man. I just never sat down and watched professional. It wasn't a destination. Let's put it that way. Have I seen it? Yes. Was it a destination for me? No. Just an FYI.
Like, I would call the TV product boring, but I watch golf. So I don't think I have any place to say that.
Mm-hmm.
I will say I was at a bar on Saturday.
That's true, though. That's a great point. That's, okay. Golf can be boring to some people. I agree.
No, I mean, same with baseball. A lot of my friends still think it is, which frustrates me. But I was at a bar on Saturday for the Champions League final, the soccer game. And I also wanted them to put golf on one of the side TVs. There were a lot of TVs. They had cornhole and college rugby on, and they played it the entire day. They didn't touch it. It was
college rugby. Thing. I could see cornhole. To watch it on TV, I would rather slam an appendage in a car door. If you know what I mean. I can't, because it's cornhole is easier than bowling. These guys, I mean, every toss, they're dropping it through the hole. Every toss. It's like watching bowling where it's a strike every time, and that's the norm. You know what I mean? So you talk about something that there's certain things you don't want to watch on TV. Lacrosse, I'll watch. Lacrosse is rather interesting. So thank you, Amy. I'll watch lacrosse. I don't mind that. I can't watch cornhole, can't watch professional fishing. Those are shows for the Ojo.
I don't want to watch something where I can compete with the people I'm watching. And I feel like I can in cornhole. Everything else, I have no chance.
Well, Jeff says I don't understand. They have a whole show on ATVs and UTVs on Bally Sports. I know. Well, but those are like infomercials for the power sports companies. Rick says tennis, also boring.
Oh, I like tennis.
Tennis it's a flavor. It's you gotta like it or you don't. It's a if you're watching a big match, that's one thing. But yeah, tennis has such limited action because it's usually a serve, back, forth, and done. It's not like some long, extended back and forth, so to speak. I can't describe it. It just is what it is. Cricket. Cricket is another one. You got to understand the rules to it, but because we don't, it's not as popular here. But cricket it does have its coolness factor to it. And what else is this one? This is from Kyle, who says, "What about watching pool? I used to watch pool on ESPN late at night." I liked watching pool. I'd have it on in the background because I had a pool table. But I never sat down to go, oh my God, the big pool match is on. The only one I could ever tell you about, there was a couple of really good pool players years gone by, but the last one I remember was the female, the Black Widow. I don't even know what her real name was. But beyond that, that's it. Drew says, I used to watch pool hoping that the girls were really hot and they would bend over the pool table. Thank you very much, Drew. You just brought a bad segment into the gutter even lower. I appreciate that. All right. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's all coming up right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, there was a doubleheader for the Milwaukee Brewers at Wrigley Field yesterday. In Game 1, Jace Peterson would get the scoring started with a solo home run. Tyrone Taylor would then step up and deliver a 2-run shot to tie the game. Then later on, Luis Urias would hit a 3-run shot as the Brewers would take a lead, then turn to Devin Williams and Josh Hader. As Williams would work it into the 9th, then Hader came on to close things out for his 17th save of the season. The Brewers would beat the Cubs 7-6. Game 2 would see Brewers starting pitcher Aaron Ashby have his best performance of his young career as he would go 6 innings, giving up just a solo home run while striking out 12. The Brewers offense was also generated from an RBI double from Rowdy Tellez, then 2 home runs, one from Victor Carantini, another from Tyrone Taylor. And then in the 9th, it would be Josh Hader again, 2 times in one day, as he would shut the door for his 18th save of the season. The Brewers would beat the Cubs 3-1. Here's more from manager Craig Counsell on his closer.
It's Josh. It's a heck of a feat, and it's doing a little something extra for the guys when they need it, as a couple guys did today, and that's what a team's all about. Sometimes you got to do a little extra, and Josh did a little extra today.
Brewers and Cubs are back at it tonight at Wrigley. First pitch 7:05.
Your work-life balance is important to you, and Sutton Transport agrees. Sutton Transport offers a 5-day work week. Same start times daily, and you'll be home nightly and on weekends. Sutton Transport is now hiring CDL drivers and forklift operators for all shifts. Enjoy some of the best benefits in the industry. Consistent year-round work, twice-a-year wage increases, and enjoy your family time you deserve. That is work-life balance. The road to success is with Sutton Transport. Apply at suttontrans.com.
The Milwaukee Bucks have an opening on their coaching staff. Longtime assistant Darvin Ham has been hired to be the next coach for the Los Angeles Lakers. Ham has been with Bucks head coach Mike Budenholzer since 2013. For the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Ebo.
Welcome back. Bill Michaels Show. Glad you're with us. On this Tuesday edition, welcome back from the extended weekend. We certainly appreciate you being here, and everybody now on the network. Thanks for joining us. Our friends in La Crosse and Eau Claire, our buddies out in Viroqua, Marshfield, Rice Lake, all over. And I want to say hi to Jim and the gang at WMAM. I saw Jim Callow over the weekend, too. We stopped in to Forgotten Fire Winery up in Peshtigo. And saw Jim and his wife. They came by. So I had a good time. Mike, his wife as well. So good time. Good stuff. I want to say thanks to our friends at Wabam, W-A-B-A-M, and ended up coming in 4th this past weekend. If you're watching the Wabam car race around the tracks this weekend, all throughout the great state of Wisconsin. But nevertheless, ended up coming in 4th. Good race, though. I think it was 4th out of 16, if I'm not mistaken. So they had a good run at it. Ryan DeStefano and Joe Cool Racing and everybody. So not bad. Not a bad way to go. Wabam doing itself proud over the weekend. Go to GetWabam, WABAM.com. That's GetWabam.com for great cleaning supplies, industrial, janitorial, or if you are a car person, a motorcycle person, or a boat person, and you want to spiff it up, ceramic it up, make it look shiny, nice, and new, and keep the bugs from sticking on there and creating that goop. There you go. There you go. Hey, Larry, how you doing? Larry's listening from Mexico. From Mexico today. Hanging out on the beach, I would assume. Luke says, don't get me wrong, I love baseball, but tennis is way more exciting than baseball. Tennis has a similar cadence to football. Talking about sports that aren't in the mainstream that we watch or don't watch. This whole thing started with the discussion of football.
Fishing.
Fishing. I'm sorry, fishing, not football. I'm reading some other stuff here. That's why. What is something that you sat down? I mean, I've sat down and watched Wimbledon. I watched the Australian Open. I've watched it. I watch the majors with golf, and I can't wait for certain golf tournaments. I love the Memorial. I love the Players. I love a lot of these other tournaments. So I'm not just about watching majors. I appreciate that. I love daily watching baseball. Tonight I'll be hunkered down again, provided that they get the game in, because there are some showers and thunderstorms expected in Chicago. But I'll be hunkered down there watching it, ready to watch it all over again, hoping that the Cubs fly the L. So I had a great time watching the coverage of the Indianapolis 500. Ben, did you watch that? I thought they did a great, and I know people make fun of Danica Patrick just because she's a girl and she's fiery and some of her antics in the past. I thought she did a fantastic job. Did you watch any of that coverage?
I didn't catch it. I was out all day Saturday.
I thought she did a fantastic job. Her, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Mike Tirico, just a really, really good job, I thought, of the Indy 500. I was, and I know that some of the stuff when she had the headphones on, that's gone viral because she looks like Princess Leia. Believe it or not, that's where the comparison went. Was people said she looked like Princess Leia, and the picture of her in the headset on set, that kind of went viral, but with the side by side. But I thought she did a great job. I thought they all did a great job. I love Mike Tirico. He's as good as good gets. But I thought it was all top notch, big time. So
I take it my guy Santino Ferrucci did not get it done.
Santino Ferrucci was near the top. Santino Ferrucci is turning 24, I think today, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's turning 24 today. I could be wrong, but I think he's turning, because Erickson ends up he went, he was going for Indy immortality. He earns $3.1 million for the record purse at the Indianapolis 500, and he became the second 500 champion from Sweden. Just an FYI. So there you go. But, congratulations to Marcus Ericsson of Sweden, who gets the victory at the Indianapolis 500. But I was rooting for Helio Castroneves. I was kind of hoping that he would have gotten the job done. He just never did. Oward, I think that Peto, he ended up coming in second. Tony Kanaan, a name that everybody's familiar with, came in third, I think. And then it kind of goes down from there. Castroneves ends up coming in seventh for a long time. And at the latter portion of that race, he was running 11th, ended up with seventh. Simon Pagno at number 8. Ferrucci, by the way, was top 10. He finished at number 10.
All right.
Santino Ferrucci came in at number 10.
I have an eye for the sport.
There you go. And he is, I think he's turning 24
He is.
With the crash?
Did he crash? I didn't catch any of it.
I think he ended up crashing.
I saw all the Sports Center coverage leading up.
Yeah.
And Marty Smith did a big piece on him.
Yeah. I don't think he did the full 200. I think he crashed at it was towards the end of the race. So I don't know what the number was that he crashed, because I think he was over 190 laps, but I don't know how many. But he crashed at the end. Jimmy Johnson did, because he came in. I don't know what he ended up coming in, because there was 33 cars, so maybe 25th, 26th, something like that. I don't know. But yeah, Jimmy Johnson ended up crashing. So there you go. 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up, we got Matt LaFleur coming up here shortly, who is going to be speaking at the OTAs. So Johnson crashed. He brought out the late red flag, the last red flag. That's right. That was that crash. And then Erickson went on to get the win, but he brought out that last crash. That's right. Thank you very much. So we're going to be hearing from Matt LaFleur coming up. Also, Rick, you're right. Wiffle ball. Do you remember wiffle ball tournaments used to be on television?
They did?
Yep. Wiffle ball. Backyard wiffle ball.
There was with the cool stadiums with the Fenway.
There was a guy that ended up building this stadium in his backyard, and it became this popular thing. And teams started coming in from around the area regionally to play in these wiffle ball tournaments in his backyard. And then it grew and grew some more. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, it became a thing. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, ESPN started carrying this. And then obviously the crowds were getting big, and he couldn't do it in his backyard anymore. And it actually became a tournament from some small field, whatever it was. But yeah, wiffle ball tournaments used to be a thing. I do remember that. But I remember the guy that built the wiffle ball stadium, it was almost like a home run derby stadium in his backyard. And it became a thing. And he started getting so many people into the neighborhood that they had to stop it. They had to shut it down, because teams were coming in from all over for this guy's stadium in his backyard. Pretty cool. I've never done anything like that in my yard that would require me to move it, because the crowds were so big around my house, other than maybe leaving the windows open accidentally. And then it was people shouting for me to close the blinds. That was it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to find us, do it. Would love to hear from you. This is from Patty. Patty said, I remember watching my kids play in the wiffle ball tournaments when they were younger, which thank you very much. And Greg says, bass fishing was always my thing, so I loved watching the professional anglers. It's just not the same. Remember, it was called the Bassmasters back then. Yes, it was the Bassmasters. Now it's the Pro Fishing Tour, or Pro PFW or PFT or whatever it is, and it's different. I agree with you. Just different.
Do you ever venture into English darts?
I have seen darts, which is more difficult, in my opinion, than cornhole.
So much harder.
Yeah. So much more difficult than cornhole. I do remember watching some dart tournaments. I don't remember how long ago, but I do remember seeing it. To answer your question, yes. Why, have you gotten into watching dart tournaments?
When it's the winter and there's nothing to do and it's depressing, negative 20. Yeah, I turn it on.
Okay.
It's so cool what they do.
Gotcha. 877-867-1670. This is from Bill. Says, I don't watch other alternative sports. I just watch sports movies. Can't get enough of Major League. Oh, there you go. I get it. Pac Fan says, not used to be a thing. It's still a thing, but it's not on ESPN. Now it's on YouTube. They routinely get to 250,000 views on their games. Well, there you go. I would assume you're talking about the wiffle ball thing. That's great. That's awesome. And then Howard says, I watched wiffle ball when I was a kid. I watched softball tournaments. Do you remember the 5-man softball teams? I remember there was one team that was called Soapy's Fabulous 5. And then I remember watching when they came to town, my cousin played for the Playboy team. Playboy had a team years ago. That was a bunch of, really, really, really good athletic pro type of softball players. And my cousin Terry played for them. So I do remember that too. Yeah, softball was a thing. Now you've got softball, like girls softball, collegiate softball all the time on the tube. You can see that pretty regularly if you choose to do so. Let's do this. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We're going to come back. Matt LaFleur, the head coach of the Green Bay Packers, addressing the media as they get ready for yet another round of OTAs in Green Bay. Stay tuned. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
We're back in Judge Gina's court where debate's heating up.
True blue. True blue. Order.
Sorry, Gina.
That's Judge Gina, and this case is dismissed.
Dismissed?
Come on, guys. Wisconsin's home team. Everyone knows it's Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
You got us there, Judge Gina.
Can't argue with that.
Others sell only 1 or 2 lines of windows, and both are vinyl. Pella lets you choose from an unbeaten 6 window lines, 2 lines of budget-friendly vinyl windows, 3 lines of luxurious wood, traditional to contemporary, and Impervia, Pella's exclusive never rot fiberglass, engineered to be the strongest window material anywhere, period. Then there's financing to fit any budget. And now up to $2,500 off an installed patio door, up to $3,000 off an installed entry door. What's left to argue?
Hella now?
Pay later. Hella now.
Hey,
Court's
lady.
adjourned. With the price of materials rising across the country, don't let your huge savings slip away. Set your free consultation now at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Glad to have you. Bill Michaels Show. We continue on. A reminder coming up tomorrow night. It is going to be a good night out at the Budweiser Pavilion at the Wisconsin State Fair Park. One of the best bands, country cover bands around. Madison County is going to take the stage tomorrow night. The weather looks to be decent. Better than it was last week. That's for damn sure. So tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, the gates open. 7 o'clock, Madison County takes the stage as the 2022 live music lineup continues on at the Budweiser Pavilion out at the Wisconsin State Fair Park. And it's all brought to you by our friends at Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the Bill Michaels Sports Talk Network. Let's do this. Let's go up to Green Bay. Matt LaFleur currently at the podium talking to the media. Let's take a listen to what he has to say.
Not all at once.
I'm wondering, if Jair is here, and I guess either way, in the past you had Devontae going up against Jair and Stokes to try to get him ready. Would you do the same with Jair to get those younger receivers ready?
Yeah, if he was here, for sure, that's what we do. But he's not here.
Okay.
Are there any?
What was? I'm sorry. What was your question? The guys went. I had some other things to get ready for the next day. So, no, sorry.
Are there any people here who weren't here last week in terms of?
I think we'll find out when we get out there. We had a team meeting. I don't think I saw, it's not like I'm taking attendance in there, but you're kind of just looking out into the crowd and seeing who's there. And, our guys have done a really good job of letting us know when something comes up or they can't make it or apparently it was pretty challenging to get into Green Bay last night. A lot of flights getting canceled all across the country. So we're missing a couple guys that we had anticipated being here. But as far as any new guys, I don't think so today. I think we'll see some new faces tomorrow.
Matt, is this evolved here?
Not today.
Matt, has this evolved over time since you've been in the league and even as an assistant where voluntary, but we really want you there to now where it does seem casual is not the right word, but more, I guess, inclusive of your own mind and decision whether you choose to be there or not.
Yeah, each guy has that right to make that choice. If you're asking me, I want everybody here. So, I think some of the thought process may have changed over what's transpired over the last 2 years, especially with our COVID situation where, we didn't have OTAs. And then, but my thing to our guys is, well, neither did anybody else, so everybody was playing, had the same circumstances that they were dealing with. So obviously now with everybody being open and you'd like to see as many guys as possible here.
How have you adjusted maybe your coaching style and what you try to accomplish during this time? Because, Rob and I are old. Like, it really was very rare that there would be guys that wouldn't be here and the coaches would be ticked, even if it was voluntary for them not being here, because you installed your entire playbook and then it was a reinstall once you got to training camp. So how have you adjusted for maybe not having the kind of attendance you would like?
Well, I think it's just more the mindset that we're going to coach the guys that want to be here, and we're going to try to get those guys as good as possible, and hopefully that that they're in contention to make the roster when it comes down to it.
Is Sammy missing much of anything without Aaron being here, or as a veteran guy? Are you comfortable with him not being here as a new guy coming in?
I'm not comfortable with anybody not being here. So I like them all here, but again, it's their choice. So next week is mandatory minicamp, so there's consequences obviously for not coming.
What was the retention rate like, especially from the rookies last week, and how do you expect that to be this week?
It'll be interesting this week because last week we only had one new install that they hadn't gotten during their rookie minicamp. So this week there's going to be 3 new installs for them. So it kind of compounds, and then you get to there's a lot that's thrown at these guys. And so that's why it's so important for those young guys to kind of stay ahead and stay up on everything we've done in the past. So you just keep kind of building on it. And I guess philosophically, our philosophy is to throw as much at these guys as possible, especially this time of year. And you kind of get a feel for, what guys can do well. And then you kind of build upon that during the season. But I don't like it when we get into the season and they're hearing things for the first time. I'd rather at least them have heard it and, get some exposure to it before the season rolls around.
What feel can you get from some of these young guys, when you're doing even half speed 11 and 11s, kind of get that feel for how best they can be utilized when it really counts?
Yeah, that's tough. That is tough when the majority of our 11 on 11 drills have been more jog through tempo, although we're still learning what jog through. Everybody has a different, view of that in their own mind. Some guys are going full speed and I'm like, slow down. There's no winners or losers in the jog through period. So we just want to see what they're able to retain, and then just the communication and really they should be flawless in terms of technique and execution in those type of periods.
Would you say it's important to not overload them on a week one if it's easier to do it this week? Where's the balance kind of with that and their retention rate?
Yeah, I think that's something we look at each and every year. And but again, it's more or less you try to install your entire playbook throughout the course of the spring. That way, when you get to training camp, again, you're going to revisit it and you're going to install it in a similar fashion, but at least they've heard it before. And I think really especially for any new guys or any young guys, when they're away from here for those 5 weeks after OTAs conclude, it's important that they stay in the book, and because you'll lose everything that you'd learn, and then you're starting from scratch. We're trying to lay a foundation for the future, for our season. And so the only way you can do that is you just can't neglect it when you're away from here.
So what is that process like? So they're going to go run plays in a half hour or whatever it is. When do they learn those? It's not just this morning, right? Or were they expected to learn it over the weekend? I guess, what is the process of learning it and then putting it to use?
Well, that's on each individual. Obviously, we're not there holding their hand over the weekend going over this stuff, but certainly they can get ahead and take a look at not only the scripts, but the installs, and because we have very short meetings. Our meetings are about an hour and 15 minutes. So it's impossible to know all the details of every play that is going to be ran out there in that period of time. And so it is advantageous for each individual if they get a little bit of ahead, and that way they can truly lock in when we're in those meetings and try to hear some of the finer coaching points.
Is there a rookie that the retention has stood out to you just through the first week of how much they picked up?
No, I think it's a solid group overall, but we'll find out more as we go.
At what level can a young player at this time of year not necessarily win a job, but influence moving forward how much of an opportunity he's going to get going into training camp and things like that?
Well, you just want to see these guys grow and continue to get better each and every day. So obviously this isn't real football, although it is. You try to get it as close to real football as possible, but these guys aren't playing with pads. But again, I just think it's so important to lay the foundation for training camp, for when we put pads on, for when we get into those preseason games. And we do want to stress them right now. We'd rather stress them now than when they're out there on a Sunday.
One of the veterans who has been here. What is, from your perspective, what has his presence meant to some of these younger receivers, some of the draft picks who are here for the first time?
It means everything. And he's such a leader in that room, not only on offense, but he's been sitting there in those special teams meetings and doing a great job with that and being able to help a lot of these young guys out.
Will Bakhtiari be working out his knee still, or will he be going for some drills today?
No, our plan all along was to kind of hold him from this time of the year and just make sure he's continuing to get stronger and ready to go, hopefully, for training camp.
Is it close?
Yeah. I mean, he's been close. He was out there in a game. So but this is part of our process right now.
So from that perspective, there's no concern with him. It's that you're just playing him safe in the offseason.
We just thought that, this is a guy that's played a lot of ball, and it's best to, hold him from this portion of it.
Especially with Tanya now, do you look for a big jump from Dubois this year?
Yeah, I expect a big jump from all these guys. So, that's how we coach them. I think Josiah's had a great mindset. I think that you could really kind of see him as the season progressed last year. It seemed like he was playing faster, definitely knew what to do. Sometimes anytime you're coming off, a pretty significant injury like that, it takes some time. And, we were really happy with him at the end of the year, and hopefully he can build upon that. I mean, that play he had versus Detroit was great on that screen that he took 60 some odd yards or whatever to the house. I think that really showed what he's capable of doing.
For two more. When you look at the additions that you have on the defensive line, is this the best defensive line group that you've had since you've been here? What does it do for defense to have that kind of depth on the interior?
Yeah, I think it's the deepest we've had. And on paper, it looks great, but that's on paper, right? You got to go out there and they got to continue to grind and work and get better and better and better. And we have high expectations for that group, but ultimately we got to go out there and do it.
Will you be watching the match tomorrow night?
Most likely, yes. What time's it on? I'm gonna have to DVR it and watch it late.
Think they'll do a good job.
100%.
Good. Thank you.
All right, have a good one.
There you go. That was the head coach, Matt LaFleur, talking to the media. And the good news was he was kind of emphatic about David Bakhtiari and the fact that Bakhtiari, at least as he feels, should be ready to go come training camp. I know I've questioned it. Others have questioned it as to whether or not he would be ready. So that was good news. So we'll wait and see whether or not David Bakhtiari, because, as he said, he's played a lot of games. He knows it, that type of thing. But nothing specific when it came to David Bakhtiari and his health and getting ready and actually being ready, not only for training camp, but for the season. And so finally you've got an answer, now it's, you've got kind of more of an emphatic, yeah, he's going to be ready. We're not worried about that. What are you talking about? Type of thing. So that was good. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hit us up. If you want to go ahead and give us a shout, by all means do so. Stay tuned. Got a whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show, which is coming up. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends over there at the Forgotten Fire Winery. I told you I went up there this past weekend, had a great time, and it's not snooty. It's not pretentious. They've won awards. I mean, it's not like you're just buying Kool-Aid, man. They've won awards, serious awards. They're very proud of their awards, but they are also people that go, you know what? However you like to do it, do it. This isn't about our snootiness and imposing our will on you. This is about you enjoying their wines and ciders, and their ciders are fantastic. They have different pineapples, and they've got apples, and they've got green apple, and they've got apple with brown sugar and cinnamon, and the ciders are awesome, and they've got dessert wines and fruit wines and red wines and white wines and Pinots, and it was just really, really a good time. They got a couple of wines called the Hot Mess, both white and red, which the labels alone make you want to go, okay, I've been there. I've seen that. Yeah, I'm good with that. But check it out. Go to ForgottenFireWinery.com. That is ForgottenFireWinery.com. Again, ForgottenFireWinery.com, or look for them in many of your local grocery stores, Total Wines, things like that, wine stores, liquor stores. Look for them. Ask for them by name. They are right here in Wisconsin, made by Wisconsinites for Wisconsinites and those in the surrounding areas. Go to ForgottenFireWinery.com. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show is next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
They're racing and you don't want to miss it. June 9th through the 12th, it's the NTT IndyCar Series Saucio Grand Prix presented by AMR. For tickets, go to roadamerica.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Did you have a good time this weekend? Did you get out and about a little bit? I just texted my buddy Joe Hennis because they have a ride coming up on Sunday. It is the Hogs for Heroes ride, and it starts at Sloppy Joe's on Sunday morning and then goes to Smoke on the Water Sunday afternoon. And so if you're looking for a ride this weekend, either on Sunday or Saturday for that matter, there's a couple of rides this coming weekend, but heading out to Sloppy Joe's on Sunday morning, getting a good breakfast, and then riding for veterans, Hogs for Heroes. It's going to be a great time. So if you get a chance, and knock on wood, the weather's good, but if you get a chance this weekend and you're a rider, know somebody who is, that's going to be a great event. Again, Sloppy Joe's out on Hubertus, in Hubertus, and then it's going to end up at Smoke on the Water, which is on Okauchee Lake on Wisconsin Avenue, right there on Okauchee Lake. But I got a couple of notes, one from my friend Stacy, another one from my friend George, who both stated they were over at Sloppy Joe or over at Smoke on the Water this past weekend, and they got a chance to go downstairs and went, "Oh my God, is that place beautiful?" When they renovated, a lot of bars going through renovation right now, but they did a fantastic job down there. So if you get a chance, go out to Smoke on the Water out on Okauchee Lake and go enjoy yourself. Just a beautiful, beautiful venue. When Joe and Ellen redid that downstairs basement area that has all the patio doors or the garage doors that just lift up and open up right to Okauchee Lake. Just a great environment out there. Really, really cool. Stop in and tell them we said hi. Matt LaFleur talking about the availability of David Bakhtiari. Here it is.
Now, our plan all along was to kind of hold him from this time of the year and just make sure he's continuing to get stronger and ready to go, hopefully, for training camp.
Is it close?
Yeah. I mean, it's been close. He was out there in a game, but it's just part of our process right now.
Is he close? I mean, it was how do I put this? Ben, have we ever heard David Bakhtiari, Matt LaFleur, Brian Gutekunst, anybody say, "Yeah, I'm ready for training camp, no problem"? Has anybody ever said that?
No.
That's the reason when the question, is he close? Or Matt LaFleur sounded kind of like, well, of course, kind of like, is that a ridiculous question? But nobody's come out and said, David Bakhtiari's fine. He'll be ready to go. It's this dancing around, you never want to guarantee it, but if I'm Matt LaFleur and I'm behind closed doors and I see him every day, I'd say, oh yeah, he'll be ready. I would qualify it by say, barring any kind of a setback, oh yeah, he's going to be ready. No problem. Nobody's saying that. That's the only reason that question about, is he close, comes up. Is because nobody's come out and said, no problem. Boy, all it was a little rest, relaxation after the season. No problem. He's good to go. Nobody has said that. Which is why there's a little bit of angst there when it comes to whether or not he will be available, and why when he's not on the field, people are asking questions. I guess that might be the next question when you talk about David Bakhtiari. Hey, coach, nobody's actually said this. Say, barring any kind of a setback, he'll definitely be ready for camp. He's good to go. Can you say that and then see what LaFleur's response is? That would be my question. Because I think that's all this dancing around leads us to believe that there's still some questions there. And if so, why? That is why it's understandable. Play that again, because I think Matt LaFleur at the follow-up portion of that sounded a little irritated, but I understand why the question is being asked. Here's what Matt LaFleur had to say about David Bakhtiari in the follow-up.
Now, our plan all along was to kind of hold him from this time of the year and just make sure he's continuing to get stronger and ready to go, hopefully, for training camp.
Is it close?
Yeah. I mean, it's been close. He was out there in a game, but it's just part of our process right now.
There you go. Yeah, he's been close. Okay. But then why is nobody saying good to go? No problem. And I get it, but that's a legit question. 877-867-1670. And I don't mean to make something maybe where there's nothing, obviously, but counting on David Bakhtiari with no Elton Jenkins right now, counting on David Bakhtiari is a necessity. You hope that he's ready to go. That, all is good. All is right with the world. 877-867-1670. Bob says, hey, Bill, I'm depressed. I cut my cable TV cord today. I will no longer have access to the Wisconsin Valley Regional Sports Network. Once you start talking to yourself, then yes, I understand it. Once you start talking to yourself, I completely get where you're coming from. I get it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Now, this is what Brian Gutekunst has to say going back to the end of April about David Bakhtiari.
Yeah, I have a lot of faith in David and him getting back to where he needs to be. I know he's working his tail off and feel good about it. At the same time, I think it's the National Football League and injuries are tough. And I think we have to be prepared either way. But I'm pretty confident that Dave's going to get back to the level that he was at prior to the injury.
So there you go. I'm pretty confident Dave's going to get back to the level that he was at prior to the injury. I'm pretty confident. So see what happens. I hope he's back. 877-867-1670. You want to find us? Do it. Again, 877-867-1670. It was just one of those things that caught my ear. Just caught my ear there for a minute when we were talking about, this team and some of the guys that are missing and then getting David Bakhtiari back together, And, the question is direct, and there's no direct answer when it comes to that. Also, no Aaron Rodgers. So you are correct for those that are saying, well, why is there Aaron Rodgers there? He's on the match tomorrow night. What is that, TNT or TBS, Ben?
TNT.
That's what I thought. TNT tomorrow night. TNT, TBS. Wasn't quite sure, but TNT tomorrow night, you're going to catch the match. You've got Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, all playing golf. There you have it. Let's do this. We're going to step away, take a quick break. Got a lot more to get to. Hang in there. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Start your engines and win a 2022 Chevy Camaro SS with a Pepsi Pit Stop presented by Jack Links. Stop by Quick Trip and purchase any participating Pepsi, Rockstar, or Jack Links product with your Quick Rewards card and earn an automatic entry. 10 weekly winners receive a $500 Quick Trip gift card and 4 NASCAR Quick Trip 250 tickets. And a chance to win a Chevy Camaro. The Pepsi Pit Stop and NASCAR Quick Trip 250 are your first stop to summer excitement.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Corey, he has stated via the Pat McAfee show that he was going to be there. I don't know at what point that Aaron Rodgers is suddenly going to be on the practice field, but we know he's going to be around. But it's not going to be this week, not playing in the match. So nobody's there, as a matter of fact. And on top of that, Patrick Mahomes and his wife have now announced that their second child is on the way. So Patrick Mahomes not being at camp, obviously. He's got some other things going on. He's adding to the family collection. So it'll be Brady, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, and Patrick Mahomes in the match coming up tomorrow night. There you go. This was from Dana, who says one of the all-time favorite sports to watch was Australian rules football late at night, usually coming home from the bars, having a few too many, trying to eat something so the bed would not give me the spins, and watching Australian rules football. Always loved the guy in the white jacket and fedora coming out and yelling, "Oi." Dana, I don't know if he yelled "Oi." Just an FYI. I don't know. I remember the guy coming out, and it was like 3 field goals. You know, there's 4 sticks. There's 2 in the middle and 1 off to each side. And they'd boot the ball or run the ball, and he'd come out and he'd stick his 2 fingers out like he was like shooting you, you know. And he'd do whatever he'd yell. But I do remember that from years gone by. That's great. Oh, Quentin says, there is absolutely nothing wrong with professional fishing. However, I would not watch it. My brother was a professional fisherman here in the state, but they did a lot of walleye tournaments. He won over $100,000 a couple years in a row, but he is now a banker and comfortably watches his own money. That's from Quentin. Quentin, I get it. Even if your brother's in it, you know, maybe you're paying attention to your brother to see if he's going to cash in, so he's buying dinner that night, but that's about the extent of it. You go back to the old days of the Bass Masters, and that was, because remember, it was the Bass Masters. I can't remember what Bass stood for. It was BASS, but it was Bass something or other. Bass Anglers something Society. I don't know what it was. But then that was where Bass Pro Shops came from. And now that's part of Cabela's, correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, I remember watching the Bass Masters and all that kind of stuff. You bet. You bet. Oh my goodness. That's great. Michael writes, hey unit, if David Bakhtiari is not ready to go, who would then play left tackle? Well, you'd probably go back to Josh Nijman. You'd probably start Josh Nijman there, and then you'd have to go back and figure out your right tackle situation, since Elton Jenkins is not going to be ready. Now, whether that's bouncing guys around, because you would have Josh Nijman at left tackle, John Runyon at left guard, Josh Myers at center, most likely like Royce Newman over at right guard, or bounce him out to right tackle, but more right guard. And then maybe Zach Tom, your 4th-round draft choice. Zach Tom, maybe a guy like Cole Van Lanen. Can you bounce guys around like, you know, Sean Ryan? But you've got a stable of guys, but Josh Nijman would go. If Bakhtiari would not be ready to go, Josh Nijman most likely, who got, you know, the load last year. He got the yeoman's work of the left tackle position last year, and did well. So I would not have an issue if it was going to have to be Josh Nijman out there at the left tackle position, but he would be your left tackle for the time being. I don't know how difficult it would be if, say, David Bakhtiari is back, to flip Josh Nijman over to right tackle. Just a different footwork, different hand, different technique. It's just basically mirroring yourself. But I you know, that would give you depth. Not necessarily issues, if you know, because you know Elton Jenkins is going to be back at least until the end of October, you would assume. So we'll see. We'll see. And then Danny says, God almighty, I hope this doesn't mean that you're going to leave Mercedes Lewis and Robert Tonyan in on the line all season long again to protect Aaron Rodgers. No, first of all, you're not going to get Tonyan back probably to October. And no, I mean, if you have to, you know, you do it accordingly. You know, some of these games you won't have to. You won't have the same style of pass rush. In other games, you will. You know, you just kind of wing it. You kind of play it by ear, you know. 2 hours down. We got 2 hours yet to go. Good stuff. Covering it all today so far. Covering it all today. Nah, Mark, I don't want to get into that. I'll mention it, but I don't want to get into that stuff with Gabe Kapler and everything. It's kind of played out. We've been there, done that. It's just getting more publicity now, I guess, after the Uvalde shooting. 877-867-1670. Going to talk some NBA coming up as well. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Brewers swept the doubleheader against the Cubs yesterday at Wrigley Field. Milwaukee took game one 7-6, the second one 3-1. In both games, different players stepped up, though. The play of Tyrone Taylor was notable in both. He hit a two-run homer in the first game, fouled that up with a solo shot in game two, also made a remarkable catch in foul territory that had some calling it a catch of the year nominee. Magic Craig Counsell says it's a continuation of what they've seen from Taylor much of the year.
Yeah, I mean, that catch was a heck of a play, too. That's the other play that kind of gets us out of an inning. And then the homer to give us some breathing room. He had a wonderful day, and he's had a wonderful road trip.
Josh Hader became the 8th player in franchise history to record multiple saves on the same day as he collected his 17th and 18th of the season.
It was Josh, it's a heck of a feat, and it's doing a little something extra for the guys when they need it, as couple guys did today, and that's what a team's all about. Sometimes you got to do a little extra, and Josh did a little extra today.
It wasn't all good news yesterday. Team placed Brandon Woodruff on the 15-day injured list with a sprained ankle. He's hopeful he'll miss just a couple of weeks and then be good to go. It's going to be the Cubs and Brewers again tonight.
Your work-life balance is important to you, and Sutton Transport agrees. Sutton Transport offers a 5-day work week, same start times daily, and you'll be home nightly and on weekends. Sutton Transport is now hiring CDL drivers and forklift operators for all shifts. Enjoy some of the best benefits in the industry: consistent year-round work, twice-a-year wage increases, and enjoy your family time you deserve. That is work-life balance. The road to success is with Sutton Transport. Apply at suttontrans.com.
Well, the Packers back on the field today for the second week of OTAs. Quarterback Aaron Rodgers not at the voluntary workouts. He's slated to play in the match golf event tomorrow. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heilprin.
Good day to you on this Tuesday edition. Appreciate you taking a listen to us, and thank you so much. Hopefully you had a relaxing weekend. We're back at it today, a shortened work week as we head into the month of June, and a little bit warmer temperatures today, although we are expecting some weather later on. Hopefully it doesn't affect the Brewers game. Brewers and Cubs coming up later on tonight down at Wrigley. You know what? One of the other sports that's on the come, Ben, we were talking about sports that, people don't necessarily watch, but one of the other sports that's on the come is pickleball. Pickleball.
I've told you my pickleball story.
I refresh my memory.
I saw my uncles last summer, and both of them tore their Achilles playing pickleball against each other within 12-minute span.
Really?
It is.
I didn't remember that.
It is ruining the Kenny household from the inside. Because one of them is wearing a boot, the other doesn't want to get surgery because he wants to feel more, manly than the other.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a disaster over there.
Gotcha. Pickleball. I agree. And it is, a friend of mine just posted a video of it over online on Facebook, and I just posted it again over on the Facebook fan page. This is a group of women. I shouldn't say group. It's the PBA or PPA, the Professional Pickleballers Association, and it's doubles. and it's a doubles match, and these women are going at it. But this is not like tennis where it's just, hit, done. This is back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And the thing about it is you can hit it on the fly. You can hit it on one bounce. You don't let it get two bounces. But, you can do drop shots, and on one bounce, you can fire it at them, and they can fire it back at you. I mean, all that kind of stuff. But why? I posted the video over on the Facebook fan page if you haven't seen it. But pickleball is one that's on the come. And now they've got, 300 people in the stands. Look out. Pickleball, I tell you, every day I get up when it's warm out, and even when it's cold out for that matter, because they shovel the courts. Right down the street from my house is a middle school. I mean, it's maybe 400 yards away. It's not far. And as I go up every morning and I go to the gym, I pass it. And damn, if it isn't every morning, 3 out of 4 of those courts are being used with pickleball people. And on the weekend, forget it. They got tournaments. It's packed. People are sitting in benches. They got benches now because it's a schoolyard that used to have tennis courts, which they've cut the tennis courts in half. And so instead of having, I think, 6 tennis courts, now they only have like 2 tennis courts and everything else is pickleball. So it's gotten so big, they've now started to put like sidewalks and benches and everything in the area because it never used to be. It used to be you could just get the court and go. Now, because there's so many people waiting to play pickleball, that there's these pickleball teams that are there, and people playing pickleball waiting to get on the court. It's amazing. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to hit us up. So we were just talking about some of these, kind of off the cuff sports that you don't necessarily sit down and watch, but have some niche in life popularity wise that they find their way to television programming. I didn't want to really get into this too much, and I understand there's a lot of political statements, but haven't we already been there, done that with this whole national anthem thing? Gabe Kapler not wanting to come out of the dugout, not wanting to come out of the clubhouse now for the national anthem until he feels the nation has changed enough to where he feels comfortable in coming back out and saying it. I don't look at it that way, but it is what it is. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm more pro national anthem and making a statement and look, you've got other pulpits to take part in other than that, but to each his own, I guess. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to give us a shout, by all means do so. Betting lines are out. Jamie Eisner, some of the betonline.ag betting props for the match. Rodgers and Brady are the -175, Mahomes and Allen plus 155. Total holes completed at 10.5 for the over and under. The longest drive of the night favors Aaron Rodgers, then Brady, then Mahomes, then Josh Allen. First player to curse is Rodgers, then Brady, then Allen, and Mahomes. Mahomes must not swear too much. We know Rodgers has. He's even dropped some F-bombs on the Pat McAfee show. So
Did you see what Rodgers called Mahomes in a little trash talk episode before the match?
No, I did not.
He called him Kermit the Frog.
Really? That's awesome. I hate to admit it, but that's pretty awesome.
That was funny.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I get it too. Just oh my goodness. I get it.
Do you think it's going to be any less watchable without real golfers in it?
No, because if you're just looking at, because it was never watchable regarding the golfers, it was always for lack of a better term, you were looking to just be entertained. So if you were looking for entertainment, then you're good with that. You know what I mean? So I just look at it for entertainment purposes.
Yeah. But if the golf is that bad, it could take away.
Right.
But that's
no, I get it.
Speaking.
I get it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to find us, please feel free to go ahead and do so again, 877-867-1670. What else do we have here for you? This is, now when it comes to, by the way, the swearing thing, now will it be caught live? You know what I mean? The first player to curse, Rodgers is the leader on Bet Online at plus 125. Now, if I'm Mahomes and Brady and all those guys, maybe Mahomes, you get a few friends together and you pay Mahomes to fire off an F-bomb on the first swing. You know, you win that one. But Mahomes doesn't usually swear. I don't know about Josh Allen. I don't hear him mic'd up enough. Tom Brady, we know he's dropped some. You can see his veracity on the sideline, and Rodgers just, I think, sometimes just uses it to use it, because he never did. Rodgers didn't swear a whole lot. At least when he first came into the Packers organization, he was pretty straight-laced. Now he's feeling his oats a little bit, so he tends to drop them a little bit more. But will you hear it? Will you actually hear it on the air? Will it, I mean, and what is, when you talk about cursing, is it like if he says, oh, what a pain in the ass? Or is it dropping an F-bomb? You know what I mean? What is the actual curse? Is that up to whose discretion is that? Just some of the prop bets over there at betonline.ag. And why
any of those
go ahead,
your eye?
What's that?
Any of those you think is the winner?
No, here's my question. The total holes completed? Is it just because we're playing match play that everybody will actually complete the hole? Or is it just the first person to win the hole and then they're just going to everybody's pick up and go from there? Is that what they're talking about?
Total holes, I think, like how long will the match last? I think it might be normally around 14 or 15. I definitely don't think they go full 18. So then if you're up 3 through 11, I think you might win.
Okay. Well, they say 10.5. So we'll see. 10.5.
I'm dreading the event personally.
Why is that?
Oh, there's going to be a couple off the cuff things said by Rodgers. It's going to turn into a whole pack of reaction for weeks. Then I have to comb through and re-find all the, go back to when he said a comment on the third green, you know?
Right. But it is nothing but beneficial for us. What would happen, let's just say, if they just played? If they just played, there was not a lot of trash talking. It was pretty good. It went 14, 15 holes even, and nothing controversial. You know, looking forward to the season. Yeah, you're just going to do our best, and, you know, love my teammates. And, you know, it just, what if it was just that? You know? Boy, will we fall asleep.
They'll find new golfers for the next one.
I know, right?
These guys got to go perform.
Something has to happen. Something has to happen coming up tomorrow. You got to get something out of it. Something controversial, something to make Mike Greenberg on ESPN on Get Up the next day going, could you believe what Aaron Rodgers had to say? So we can hear that coming out of him on Thursday. Something's got to happen.
I'm just having a good time out here with Tom.
Yeah. We'll see.
At least Brady is also playing, so we don't hear the whole, oh, look, Rodgers, he's playing golf. Brady's out here working out with his guys. Like, at least Brady's there.
Yeah, he's there. So he's hanging out.
No one can have that take.
He's just hanging out with Tom. Yeah. We'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to it. It's entertainment. I'm going to be flipping back and forth. Do we have a Brewers game tomorrow during that same time, by the way?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll be flipping back and forth. I couldn't remember if the Brewers had a night game or a day game.
7:00 tomorrow, 6:40 at home against the Padres on Thursday.
Gotcha. 7:05 tonight, by the way. Eric Lauer goes to the hill. Steele on the hill. Steele, the man of steel, is on the hill tonight for the Cubs, who comes with a whopping 5.40 ERA and a 1-5 record, as we hope the Brewers continue their dominance over the Chicago Cubs. I'm good with that. By the way, the Padres on the road tonight taking on St. Louis, for those who are wanting to know, 6:45 start time. Adam Wainwright at home, and Snell is on the bump tonight for the Padres. Padres don't hit lefties very well, or don't hit righties very well. Cardinals play extremely well. They're OPS. I was listening to Rowdy this morning. He was taking a money line on this game coming up tonight, I think, if I was correct in saying that.
Yeah, I think the Cardinals. I think Snell is struggling against, I don't know, something about their lineup.
Okay. Yep. There you go. This one's from Rick, says the sports pundits need something. They go through withdrawal when he's not on McAfee. Dave the Badger Weinbach, by the way, is a great pickleball player. Apparently he lives right here in the state of Wisconsin. And Fred says they're only playing 12 holes in the match to begin with. They're not going a full 18. Well, that sucks. See, I wanted to say, we don't watch 3/4 of a game of football. And once a team's so far ahead, it becomes statistically impossible to get it. I want to see them play 18. I want to see them wicked through this thing, man. Especially if somebody's scrapping and they just can't get the ball to the fairway. Oh, then you really want to see some of these guys go down in flames. That's what I want to see. Man. 877-867-1670. Hit us up. A lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up this portion of the program. Brought to you by our friends over at Quick Trip. I cannot wait for Sunday, July 3rd. You know why? Not only because NASCAR, the Quick Trip 250 is going to be taking place, but we are giving away the 2022 Chevy Camaro SS. Oh, that's right. Cannot wait. Quick Trip. Right now, you go in, you get a Pepsi product, you get something from Jack Links, whatever it happens to be, use the Quick Reward card, and you get extra registrations. It's that simple. Then they're going to choose 10 winners. As winners each week get more and more stuff. You get gift cards and you get tickets to the 250 and such. But then they're going to bring you all into one room, and we're going to give away that brand new 2022 Chevy Camaro SS. I cannot wait. Car's stunning, hot vehicle. Love it. And it's all given away by Quick Trip. Stop into Quick Trip today and get as many registrations as you can. And that's all compliments of our friends at Quick Trip. Go to Quick, and you don't forget, got to use that Quick Rewards card. Good stuff there. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Coming up after the bottom of the hour, got to talk a little bit about the match that is now set up in the NBA. The finals right around the corner. Going to be talking with Kurt Heelan, NBA for the NBA on the NBA writer on NBA.com. Going to be talking with him coming up here in just a little bit. So stay tuned for that. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Four Seasons Island Resort. Here we go. Okay? I've been telling you for a while now to call Barb. Barb, you got to get us in. First of all, a great time. A great time. They had a lot of fun, a lot of good music. Golf course looks beautiful. They have got pontoon tours, waterfall tours, and there were UTVers all over the joint up there this past weekend as the UTV trails are now open. Now, I've been telling you for a while that just call them up and say, Bill Michaels sent me, and they give you something, okay? So I was up there, and I was talking to Todd, the general manager, and I said, hey, I'm always telling people to get something. And some people get some cool stuff. Some people get, like, buy one dinner, get the next dinner free. Buy one bottle of wine, get another bottle of wine, or just we'll give you a bottle of wine. It'll be waiting for you in your room. So I just said, what about, like, 15% off? That's like $30-$40. And the month of June, right now, there's some rooms available. It's not packed. Or if you're a corporate group and you want to take over the island for midweek, great place to take your staff, okay? So this is what you do, okay? Go to the4seasonswisconsin.com. The4seasons, F-O-U-R, seasons, Wisconsin.com. The4seasonswisconsin.com. There's a column there. It says promo code Bill Michaels 15. That's it. You get it right then and there. Bam! Bill Michaels 15. Again, Bill Michaels 15. It's unique to us. For those listening, you're the only ones that hear about it, and you're the only ones that know about it. It's a great place to go. I ran into more and more people that were up there. Some of the UTVers that listen to the program all the time. We ran into a couple in the bar that were there celebrating an anniversary, and another group of people that were, husbands and wives. There was two couples, and they were up there to play golf. The wives didn't want to go to a big golf course. They wanted to go to a smaller golf course, and it was a great getaway weekend. So we had UTVers, we had golfers, we had people up there on an anniversary weekend, and they all got a Bill Michaels deal. So this is the way you do it. Go to the4seasonswisconsin.com and get Bill Michaels 15. Bill Michaels 15. You will get 15% off of your stay. Bill Michaels 15, and that's guaranteed right up front, right there on the website. It's that simple. The4seasonswisconsin.com. The4seasonswisconsin.com, and you're good to go. Rick, you're probably right. The match coming up tomorrow night between, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, they probably want to keep it under a 2-hour event. That I would agree with. That I understand. Probably want to keep it under a 2-hour event. I don't think we want to watch 4 or 5 hours of that. So, your good stuff. Anthony writes, hey, Unit, what about the Brewers over the weekend? Fine play for a banged-up team. I'm with you, as you were talking on Friday about hanging in there and not being reactionary. But if another pitcher goes down, do you think they're going to have to make a move? Right now, you don't. let's just, there you go, knocking on wood, that you just don't have to. Just hang in there. Continue to stack wins through this portion of your schedule and just hope you don't have to make a move. But one thing we would be remiss with, let's be honest, is the fact that Josh Hader used twice yesterday. Not once, but twice yesterday. How about that? Tyrone Taylor homered in both games. Ashby struck out a career-high 12 in the nightcap. The Brewers sweep the Cubs 7-6 and 3-1. Urias lines that 3-run homer into the basket in the left center area, and that opened things up. But it was huge yesterday. Victor Caratini hits a tie-breaking home run as well. Ashby now 1-3, allowed 1 run, 5 hits, I should say, in just over 6 innings. But a solid Josh Hader remained perfect. I think that was the story that really kind of came out of yesterday. Not only did he get 2 wins, but perfect 18 save opportunity. He's 18 for 18. Just continues to be stellar. And Ethan Small made his big league debut yesterday in the opener. So it was great. It was great all the way around. Just hopefully it just kind of continues to stay that way. You always have a contingency plan, and I'm sure David Stearns does, but you don't need to make any kind of a knee-jerk reaction at this point. It's just not necessary. Don't go get a guy just to get a guy. Just keep on going. You're 4 games up in the division. You're 12, 14 games over 500, something like that. Just keep doing what you do. Keep doing what you do. And the fact is, I mean, let's be honest, when it comes to the schedule, you got another one with the Cubs coming up, obviously. 2 actually with the Cubs. You got today and tomorrow. Then the Padres come to town. Then you've got the Phillies. It's not like you've got this juggernaut. You know what I mean? It's not like you're playing the Cardinals and then the Dodgers and then the Padres and then the Mets. And you've got some tough teams, but you got the weaker Cubs, then the tougher Padres, a good Phillies team, craptastic Washington team, then a good Mets team, then a craptastic Cincinnati team. Then you get the Cardinals. So it's not a juggernaut. Ben, the Phillies are back. It's your buddy Joe Girardi. He's guiding them to a championship.
No, they are a horrible baseball team. It was a disgrace watching them play this weekend. They have good players, don't get me wrong, but they are a bad team.
Yeah, they're a bad team. And we've seen that before where you put some good players together, but they just don't mesh. Nothing goes right. And it seems like the harder these good players try, the worse it gets. And they're not managed very well. I think we can all. How much longer do you think Joe Girardi has in Philadelphia? Is this it for him this year if this thing just continues to go south?
Oh, I would say sooner than that. I mean, they've lost 4 straight. They had a 3-game series in New York. Girardi does this thing where he won't throw a pitcher 3 days in a row, no matter what, and he'll plan ahead. And he ends up putting guys that cannot get outs into high leverage situations.
Mm-hmm.
So he loses them a series in New York. I was hoping they just would make him take the train home and move on without him then, but we'll see. They're close.
The bloom has come off for sure. The Joe Girardi rose. There is not much left to the positivity of Joe Girardi. Let's be honest. I mean, coming out of New York, he still had that, oh, by the way, I'm Joe Girardi and I manage the Yankees moniker. Now it has been, even with giving him decent players and signing players to big contracts, it has not worked out for him by any stretch. And he just at times looks bad. When you buy talent, and I hate to say that because Brian Cashman gets pissed off, the general manager of the New York Yankees, I get it. But let's be honest. Let's call it what it is. The Yankees have more money. They can do certain things that aren't nearly as high risk as, say, the Brewers or the Reds or some of these other, smaller market teams, Tampa Bay for that matter. You start to look at these other teams. They can do things that others can't, and they don't feel the same amount of impact. So I know they get mad when the world says you go out and buy players. I know they get mad at that, but who cares? Joe Girardi has proven that when you go out and buy a lot of players, it doesn't matter. You can kind of throw the helmets out there and the baseballs out there and write up a lineup and go let the players play. And when you have good players, you're going to win games. How much of the manager is actually responsible for winning games? And I give Craig Counsell a lot more credit because of the way he pushes so many analytical buttons. Joe Girardi, he had a hell of a team. And now that he's got to kind of scrape a little bit and use the noggin a little bit more, like I said, the bloom has come off the rose in that managerial move. No doubt. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to hit us up, please feel free to go ahead and do so. By the way, EJ says we have a wiffle ball field at a local bar in Fond du Lac. Replica of Fenway. We play in a league on Monday nights. It's an absolute blast. That's from EJ. I got to get up there, man. I got to get up there. And Andrew wants to know if I consider bowling to be a niche sport. To watch it on TV, yes. But it has been a pastime handed down via years and years and years and decades for many, going all the way back to the days of the Great Depression. Bowling was a gathering sport. There you go. Let's do this. We're going to talk some NBA when we come back. This portion of the program is brought to you by our friends over there at New Mail Medical, treating guys with ED all over the state of Wisconsin, well beyond the borders. Living proof of that. Used to be over 4 bills. Now less than 3 and continually to creep down, around 271 now. I was down to about 240 for a while and creeped up. And then I just kind of put a little more muscle on, but I put on fat too. So I got to take it back off. But New Mail, I've done it for years and years and years with New Mail. Call them 414-455-4451. 414-455-4451. That's the New Mail Medical Center. Locations all over, but one phone number, whether it's low T, ED, weight reduction, whatever it happens to be, 414-455-4451. That's a New Mail Medical Center. Stay tuned right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Don't want to see him come anywhere near this either. No. 877-867-1670. If you want to give us a shout, please go ahead and do so. But no. Don't want to see that happen. Let's do this. We're going to step away, take a quick break. We got a lot more to get to. Still more than an hour yet to go with the Bill Michaels Show. We'll be back right after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Today, when I get off the air, I got a little bit of running around to do. One of the stops I am going to make is down there at Robert's Specialty Meats, and I'm hoping that if we do have rain in the area, it's not a torrential downpour and it's not blowing sideways, then I can still get out underneath the tiki hut and turn the grill on. And I'm telling you, the B&B, they do this beef and bacon. It's on skewers, and they make them in different sizes, but it is perfect. Like for just me, perfect. Throw a little side salad with that. Oh my God, you grill these things up nice and crispy, and they're so good. They're my new favorite. Right up there with the Al Capone roast and the Al Capone sausages. They're my new favorite. Oh my God, they're good. Go to Robert's Specialty Meats Waukesha, down there on Sunset Drive in Waukesha. Robert Specialty Meats Waukesha.com. That's Robert Specialty Meats Waukesha.com. He is your hometown butcher. So good. Oh boy, are they good. Didn't realize that. let's see here. What else do we have here for you? This is we got a couple of different things here real quick. First of all, some of the guys that are not at the OTAs today. Amari Rogers, not there. Aaron Rodgers, we knew he wouldn't be. Sammy Watkins, Alan Lazard, not there. Jair Alexander, Patrick Taylor, Adrian Amos, Rashawn Gary, Jonathan Garvin, Randy Ramsey, Mercedes Lewis, and Preston Smith. Bakhtiari, Tanyan, Jenkins, Hill, Lowry, Pututau, all in the rehab group, to name a few. But that's from Matt Schneidman. So a lot of the names not at the OTAs today. Not a huge ordeal. However, the first two plays of the team period today, Jordan Love drops back, goes to hands off to Aaron Jones, fumble. The next play, Aaron Jones drops the pitch from Jordan Love, fumble. Hashtag it's only May. So not kind of a sloppy day today, I guess might be the best way to put it. Kind of a sloppy day at the OTAs for the Green Bay Packers. Other than that, oh well, not a big deal. 877-867-1670, and he's right, it's only May. The one thing we have to latch on to is anything and everything in the NFL, anything football, we like to latch on to and make something of it. Today's not one of those days. Today's not one of those days. Alan Lazard still waiting to see if he's going to get some kind of a different contract. He's kind of has not signed the tender offer, kind of holding out, so we kind of saw that coming. But today's not one of those days. I'm not making a big deal about it, I guess, the best way to put it. I know other people, I know it's lighting it up when it comes to the Twitter world, but it's okay. I'm not a fan of botched handoffs and sloppy play, but I'd rather they do it now than do it once you get into training camp and start heading into the regular season. So no big deal. Nothing to see here. The one thing you would like to see, I guess, if you want to make any kind of a statement about this, you'd like to see Jordan Love come into the OTAs, the mandatory workout, the team organized, venues, so to speak, and then obviously in the training camp and in the preseason. You'd like to see him come in so far ahead of the game and so sharp and looking so good that you can say, I got it. I get it. I can see it. So his value is going up, whether it's playing right here in Green Bay or it's being, trade bait for somebody else. The value continues to rise. But just you don't see that. So anyway, let's do this. We got another hour yet to go. Another hour happening. Stay tuned. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends over there at Pindell, a quality machining manufacturing company. Great to work for, too. They continue to boost their pay to get in quality candidates. And whether it's training, computerized, mechanized, whatever it happens to be that you need to do, they've got you covered. And they want to make sure that your training continues all throughout it, whether it's your career, it's a job, whatever it happens to be. Pindell's a great company to work for. And for those of you needing machine quality parts to work with, go to Pindell, Pindel. Go to Pindell.com. That is Pindell.com. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Brewers swept the doubleheader against the Cubs yesterday at Wrigley Field. Milwaukee took game one 7-6. The second one 3-1. In both games, different players stepped up, though. The play of Tyrone Taylor was notable in both. He hit a two-run homer in the first game, fouled that up with a solo shot in game two. Also made a remarkable catch in foul territory that had some calling it a catch of the year nominee. Magic Craig Counsell says it's a continuation of what they've seen from Taylor much of the year.
Yeah, I mean, that catch was a heck of a play, too. That's the other play that kind of gets us out of an inning, and then the homer to give us some breathing room. He had a wonderful day, and he's had a wonderful road trip.
Josh Hader became the 8th player in franchise history to record multiple saves on the same days he collected his 17th and 18th of the season.
It was Josh, and it's a heck of a feat, and it's doing a little something extra for the guys when they need it, as a couple guys did today, and that's what a team's all about. Sometimes you got to do a little extra, and Josh did a little extra today.
It wasn't all good news yesterday. Team placed Brandon Woodruff on the 15-day injured list with a sprained ankle. He's hopeful he'll miss just a couple of weeks and then be good to go. It's going to be the Cubs and Brewers again tonight.
For nearly 40 years, ABC of Wisconsin has been helping men and women transform themselves into well-paid, productive members of their construction teams. Have you thought about a career in a skilled trade? These are the types of skills that could secure your future. Jobs that can't be outsourced to someone overseas. Be in demand. To get your career started, go to buildyourcareerwi.org.
Well, the Packers back to the field today for the second week of OTAs. Quarterback Aaron Rodgers not at the voluntary workouts. He's slated to play in the match golf event tomorrow. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil, Print.
Final hour of the Bill Michaels Show. We're glad to have you. Hopefully you're enjoying your day on this Tuesday edition of the Bill Michaels Show. I just read this. Now, this is when you get out of touch. When you go up north, you just sit back and kind of relax. You kind of unwind. And for the most part, you unplug. I mean, I posted a couple things on Facebook, but that was really it. I just unplugged this weekend. And I got back into it this morning. I mean, I watched Brewers baseball, don't get me wrong, and I paid attention to the Indy 500 and the Coca-Cola 600 and enjoyed all of that. But I was just kind of sitting here reading, and oh, my God, 46 people shot over the weekend in Chicago? Holy mackerel. 46. Good gracious. Whew. Man, oh, man. Anyway. That's what you start to see things as you scroll around during commercial breaks, just to kind of see if you're missing anything, and you see something like that, and you're like, good gosh, that is just tragic. You've got the OTAs going on now. Matt LaFleur, look, he talked about Jair Alexander's status and whether or not they would ask him to cover a lot of these young wide receivers to get them ready for the season.
Yeah, if he was here, for sure, that's what we do. But he's not here.
And you knew that when you asked the question. So if Jair was here, would you ask him to do that? Sure, but he's not, so we won't. Oh, okay. Everybody, by the way, Ben, did you go see Top Gun over the holiday weekend?
I'm seeing it on Friday.
Which raked in more than $200 million in its first weekend?
Is it embarrassing that I've never seen the first one?
No, not at all. I haven't. I am getting a lot of people on Facebook that say this is better than the first one and it's fantastic. And, there's a lot of things that you kind of need right now. Pro-America stuff you need right now. People are kind of lacking. There's a division in our country. So you need this pro-American feel, a feel-good feel. A throwback feel, and that's what people are getting. But and then there's Tom Cruise fans and people that enjoyed the first Top Gun. Obviously, became part of our nomenclature, especially with music. But I get it. But no, I've not seen the first. I've seen bits and pieces. I shouldn't say I've never seen it. I've seen bits and pieces where I've sat down to watch it, and then I get called away. I don't see the totality of it, but. Matt LaFleur was asked, hey, the guys went to see it this weekend. Did you?
The guys went. I had some other things to get ready for the next day. So, no, sorry.
So Matt LaFleur's first two questions of this press conference were terrible. Hey, Jair's not here, but if he was, would he do this? But he's not. Yeah, he would, but he's not, so we won't. Okay, great. And the team was going to see Top Gun. Did you enjoy it? No, I didn't go see it. So it's like two kicks to the crotch right out of the gate. Anyone here this week who wasn't here last week?
I think we'll find out when we get out there. We had a team meeting. I don't think I saw, it's not like I'm taking attendance in there, but you're kind of just looking out into the crowd and seeing who's there. And, our guys have done a really good job of letting us know when something comes up or they can't make it or apparently it was pretty challenging to get into Green Bay last night. A lot of flights getting canceled all across the country. So we're missing a couple guys that we had anticipated being here. But as far as any new guys, I don't think so today. I think we'll see some new faces tomorrow.
So flights getting canceled all over the country. Was it just weather? Or because I know that a friend of mine was coming from California back into Kentucky, and the flight got canceled 4 times because it wasn't full. So they didn't want to waste fuel on a 3/4 flight, so they canceled the flight. Was it fuel issues or was there weather in the country, Ben? Do you know?
No clue.
I wonder. This is what I'm understanding from the airlines is that, good luck. I don't know if it's across the board, if it's one company. I don't want to badmouth one company if everybody's doing it, but there is some weather. I understand that. But from what I understand, there's a lot of these flights that if they're not full, they're not wasting the money putting the thing in the air because they're not going to waste the money on the fuel. So if you go ahead.
I don't have much trouble bad-mouthing American because I heard it was mostly them.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know. But I know that some of the flights that got canceled were because if they weren't full or more than 3/4 full, they weren't going to fly because gas prices are too high. Now, the attendance a little bit lower at this OTA than in the past, and Matt LaFleur talks about that.
Yeah, each guy has that right to make that choice. If you're asking me, I want everybody here. So, I think some of the thought process may have changed over what's transpired over the last 2 years, especially with our COVID situation where, we didn't have OTAs. And then, but my thing to our guys is, well, neither did anybody else, so everybody was playing, had the same circumstances that they were dealing with. So obviously now with everybody being open, and you'd like to see as many guys as possible here.
So now you got to adjust. Once you don't have those guys, some guys call in and they say, hey, I'm not going to be there for this one. I got something else going on or what have you, or maybe they just don't want to come. You got a guy like Alan Lazard, and Alan Lazard is, waiting for a better deal and such. So you got to adjust. And Matt LaFleur talks about adjusting.
Well, I think it's just more the mindset that we're going to coach the guys that want to be here, and we're going to try to get those guys as good as possible, and hopefully that that they're in contention to make the roster when it comes down to it.
Now, Sammy Watkins not there, and Matt LaFleur was asked, "Are you comfortable with this guy's a new player, has never played on this team before, not in this system before? Are you comfortable with not having Sammy Watkins there?"
I'm not comfortable with anybody not being here. So I like them all here, but again, it's their choice. So, next week is mandatory minicamp. So there's consequences obviously for not coming.
We'll see if a guy like Alan Lazard is there. Some of the more, veteran players are there or not there. In the meantime, he also says that the rookies, they're going to be challenged this week more so than in previous practices.
It'll be interesting this week because last week we only had one new install that they hadn't gotten during their rookie minicamp. So this week there's going to be 3 new installs for them. So it kind of compounds, and then you get to there's a lot that's thrown at these guys. And so that's why it's so important for those young guys to kind of stay ahead and stay up on everything we've done in the past. So you just keep kind of building on it. And I guess philosophically, our philosophy is to throw as much at these guys as possible, especially this time of year. And you kind of get a feel for, what guys can do well. And then you kind of build upon that during the season. But I don't like it when we get into the season and they're hearing things for the first time. I'd rather at least them have heard it and, get some exposure to it before the season rolls around.
So how difficult is it to get rookies up to speed when you have very limited capability to do the 11 on 11?
Yeah, that's tough. That is tough when the majority of our 11 on 11 drills have been more jog through tempo, although we're still learning what jog through. Everybody has a different, view of that in their own mind. Some guys are going full speed and I'm like, slow down. There's no winners or losers in the jog through period. So we just want to see what they're able to retain, and then just the communication and really they should be flawless in terms of technique and execution in those type of periods.
And then you've got the challenge. You want to get rookies up to speed. You want to give them more information. You want to get them, different installations, but you also run the risk of then overloading them. How difficult is that balance?
Yeah, I think that's something we look at each and every year. And but again, it's more or less you try to install your entire playbook throughout the course of the spring. That way, when you get to training camp, again, you're going to revisit it and you're going to install it in a similar fashion, but at least they've heard it before. And I think really especially for any new guys or any young guys, when they're away from here for those 5 weeks after OTAs conclude, it's important that they stay in the book, and because you'll lose everything that you'd learn, and then you're starting from scratch. We're trying to lay a foundation for the future, for our season. And so the only way you can do that is you just can't neglect it when you're away from here.
So as far as standing out, when you talk about the rookies and attention and such and retention, when it comes to the ability to, absorb the playbook, absorb the installation. So has any of the rookies really kind of stood out to you so far?
No, I think it's a solid group overall, but we'll find out more as we go.
So how can the young players stand out? What do they need to do, and what do they need to do to earn more reps in the future? How can they kind of grab your attention?
Well, you just want to see these guys grow and continue to get better each and every day. So obviously this isn't real football, although it is. You try to get it as close to real football as possible, but these guys aren't playing with pads. But again, I just think it's so important to lay the foundation for training camp, for when we put pads on, for when we get into those preseason games. And we do want to stress them right now. We'd rather stress them now than when they're out there on a Sunday.
And also Randall Cobb. You got a veteran in Randall Cobb who wants to be there, who wants to work with a rookie. So what does his presence mean?
It means everything. And he's such a leader in that room, not only on offense, but he's been sitting there in those special teams meetings and doing a great job with that and being able to help a lot of these young guys out.
As we discussed earlier, when it came to David Bakhtiari, Brian Gutekunst didn't have a lot of positivity, and the back and forth here with David Bakhtiari and the plan for him for the OTAs with Matt LaFleur. Nobody just says, David's fine. It's going to be good. We're all good. He gives you the detail and kind of does a little sidestepping here.
No, our plan all along was to kind of hold him from this time of the year and just make sure he's continuing to get stronger and ready to go, hopefully, for training camp.
Is it close?
Yeah. I mean, it's been close. He was out there in a game. So but it's just part of our process right now.
So from that perspective, there's no concern with him. It's that you're just playing it safe in the offseason?
We just thought that, this is a guy that's played a lot of ball, and it's best to, hold him from this portion of it.
So when asked specifically, so there's no concern. Yeah, this is a guy who's played a lot of ball, and it just, you don't get the straight dope, which kind of leads you. And I'm not saying that David's hurt. I'm not saying that he's struggling or anything like that. What I'm saying is the one thing you're looking for is David's fine, going to be good to go. Barring any kind of a major setback, David's fine, going to be good to go. That rest coming out of the season did him a world of good. He, all that. David's fine, good to go. You're not getting that. Then there's expectations this year for going into 2022 with the Swiss Army knife that is Josiah DeGuara.
Yeah, I expect a big jump from all these guys. So, that's how we coach them. I think Josiah's had a great mindset. I think that you could really kind of see him as the season progressed last year. It seemed like he was playing faster, definitely knew what to do. Sometimes anytime you're coming off, a pretty significant injury like that, it takes some time. And, we were really happy with him at the end of the year, and hopefully he can build upon that. I mean, that play he had versus Detroit was great on that screen that he took 60 some odd yards or whatever to the house. I think that really showed what he's capable of doing.
And then the depth of the defensive line. Now, you and I have talked about this numerous times, that this, for what they've done during the draft, bringing in Jerron Reed, re-signing Devondre Campbell, it was a shame that Za'Darius had to go, but he left. He's well, I shouldn't say he left. I mean, they just said, no, we're going to cut you loose. He goes and signs with the Vikings. But really, this is probably the most depth defensively on that front that Matt LaFleur has had, and he agrees.
Yeah, I think it's the deepest we've had. And on paper, it looks great, but that's on paper, right? You got to go out there and they got to continue to grind and work and get better and better and better. And we have high expectations for that group, but ultimately we got to go out there and do it.
And then last but not least, tomorrow night, it's the match. It's Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen against Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. And is Matt LaFleur going to be sitting there just salivating and watching it?
Will you be watching the match tomorrow night?
Most likely, yes. What time's it on? I might have to DVR it and watch it late.
There you go. In other words, yeah, I'll watch it, but it's not a priority. You know why? Because I'm going to pay attention to the guys that are actually here. There you go. Good stuff. Let's do this. We're going to step away, take a quick break. We're going to come back. Got a lot more to get to, so hang in there. Got 3 more segments of the Bill Michaels Show on this Tuesday edition coming up, and it's coming up right after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program. Heading out over the next few days. Boondocks Barbecue and Brews right there in Oconomowoc. Good place. And they finished the patio. I had a couple friends of mine who stopped out over the weekend. I didn't get a chance to make it, but they stopped out over the weekend. They were actually on the bikes on Saturday after the honor ride, as a matter of fact. And they ended up stopping out there, said they had a great time. And the patio, they said, is spectacular. So, and it was a great weather day too. So they were really excited about all of that. And you should be too. A really good place. Boondocks Barbecue and Brews, and a really good place. A lot of fun. Great people. I've talked about it time and again. So head on out and see everything that they have to offer. Boondocks Barbecue. Burgers. Can't forget about the burgers and brews. They got really good burgers out there too. But the patio is up and running and good stuff. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Rick says, Coach gives such bland answers. I know. He's not a flamboyant guy. He is not going to give you Bill Parcells speak, so to speak. He's not going to do that. Yeah, that just doesn't happen. Ethan says, besides the obvious of golf, what other sports do you get into during the summer? He wants to know, is boating a sport? No, boating's not a sport. When you're sitting there putt-putting around looking at homes, you got binoculars, scope, and bikinis. You got a beer in your hand. That's not a sport. Now, if you're racing power boats offshore, that's a sport. But no. And I guess what else? What else would be considered a sport? That people say it's sporting. Let's go do the sport of. Like those stand-up paddle boards. Ben, is that a sport?
Well, there are races, and I know there is like big water paddle boarding. They go over waterfalls and stuff.
Yeah.
But doing the action is definitely not a sport.
Yeah, see, I don't think so either. I would agree.
I've actually had this argument with my friends a lot about how you define a sport. And this is a rabbit hole that will take hours, but I define it as a competitive activity where another team or player can play defense on you.
Okay. Well, then is golf a sport?
So this is where the gray line gets drawn. But I argue that the course and the weather plays defense.
Okay. Because it really is you against the course. But is that, God, this is from my buddy Dewey, who says we call it the sport of float, floating down a lazy river with a cooler full of beer. No, that's not a sport, you tub of goo. That's not a sport. That is a relaxing activity to get away from the world of sports. No, that's not a sport. Sharon says, what about pickleball? Pickleball is a sport. Yes. Pickleball is a competitive sport. It's growing in popularity. Yes. I will go along with that. But no, floating down a river is not a sport. God. What is wrong with you people? Oh, my goodness. 877-867-1670. You'd have to, and again, this is always, like you said, going down a rabbit hole. Because then you get into the argument about what is and what isn't. No, it's not a sport. Boating is not a sport. Water skiing is a sport, but boating is not a sport. Just an FYI.
I would call water skiing an activity.
Well, I mean, if you're doing it competitively, if you're doing ski jumps, then you would consider like the sport of downhill skiing. What's the difference? You're going against against the mountain, whereas water skiing, your technique is either getting you through pylons faster than the other guy or girl, or the ski jump, the art of the ski jump, whatever. And I don't know.
I guess that could be the issue. I have trouble whenever judges are involved.
But then you're talking about, would gymnastics be a sport? And gymnastics, then you would have to say, if you're going to talk about judges, then what do you do? Because I think some of the best athletes in the world are gymnasts for what they're able to do with their bodies, contortion wise, movement wise, athletic moves wise. And you would say that gymnasts are more sporting than, say, golfers. But because they're judged via judges, literally, is it less of a sport? I guess anytime the Russians are involved, you would probably say yes. Because of the disdain there is for Russian judges going back to the last few Olympics. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Not that I really want to jump down that path, but I don't know what to tell you. It is, but I will say this. Anything involves floating and drinking at the same time, I can pretty much guarantee it's not a sport. Just saying. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. There are now I will say this. I've said this before. There are competitions. Things can be competition athletically, but may not be able to be a sport, so to speak. But there are competitions that you can do that like is going back to the gymnastics things. This is here we go. Cassie wants to know if cheerleading is a sport. You're athletic. Do they call it the sport of cheer, or do they call it the competition? Dance competitions. They're based on judging. We're very athletic. Ballroom dance and in spirit dance.
So how about this, Bill?
Oh, God.
With the defense thing?
Yeah.
Cross country, definitely a sport because you can cut people off and affect their path, while track and field is not, because you run in a straight line and you can't actually play defense on anybody else.
Here we go.
Well, the phones are blowing up, so
I don't want to do this. We all know what is and isn't. We all know what is athletic and what isn't athletic. We all know. We all get it. We all get it. You know what I mean? I don't know. Oh, I'm taking a break. I'm going to do this. Here. Rick says, if it takes skills and physical effort, it's a sport. All right. Go down that rabbit hole. Stay tuned. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
We're back in Judge Gina's court where debate's heating up.
Drew Blue! Drew Blue! Order!
Sorry, Gina.
That's Judge Gina, and this case is dismissed.
Dismissed?
Come on, guys. Wisconsin's home team. Everyone knows it's Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
You got us there, Judge Gina. Can't argue with that.
Others sell only 1 or 2 lines of windows, and both are vinyl. Pella lets you choose from an unbeaten 6 window lines, 2 lines of budget-friendly vinyl windows, 3 lines of luxurious wood, traditional to contemporary, and Impervia, Pella's exclusive never rot fiberglass, engineered to be the strongest window material anywhere, period. Then there's financing to fit any budget. And now, up to $2,500 off an installed patio door, up to $3,000 off an installed entry door. What's left to argue?
Hella now? Pay later. Hella now. Pay
Court's adjourned. With the price of materials rising across the country, don't let your huge savings slip away. Set your free consultation now at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin reminding you that, hey, it's we're creeping up on the warmer weather season. We all know that, right? And eventually we're going to get into hot days, and you're going to want to keep the air conditioning from running constantly. And a great set of windows or house full of Pella Windows and Doors, that's going to help you. Okay, that'll be economical for the old air conditioning system. Then comes the fall and the winter, and we all hate it. I know that. But you get into that, and then again, it keeps the cold out and the heat in. It's Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Team Pella, they are here year-round. They're not just a summertime thing or a wintertime thing. It's everything in between, and you don't have to settle for a company that only has a couple of sets of windows, whether it's two vinyl style or a vinyl and a fiberglass, whatever. This company has vinyl, has Impervia, which is stronger than fiberglass, and they have 3 different types of luxurious wood windows from traditional to contemporary, all different types. And a lot of financing out of those windows to fit almost any budget. So if you're looking for windows, if you're looking for doors, if you're looking for an entry system, $2,500 off right now an installed patio door, $3,000 off an installed entry door, and it kind of goes from there. They have many, many, many different things going on right now. But the bottom line is this. I got them in my home. I've got the doors. I've got the entry system. I've got the windows. And I love them. You can ask me anything about them. Because whether it's just kind of cranking it open with one finger or making sure that every window and door locks properly, never have to worry about the safety in your home. You can lay your head on your pillow at night knowing nobody's busting in on you. It's good to go. That's Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. All you got to do is call them 855-PELLA-WI. That's 855-PELLA-WI. Again, 855-PELLA-WI. Or you can also check them out. Simply call them. Again, 855-PELLA-WI. Go to PELLAWI.com. That is PELLAWI.com. Again, PELLAWI.com, and see for yourself. That's our friends over at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Just tell them we said hi. Give them a shout. The whole thing about all of this stuff about what is and isn't a sport and who is and isn't offended and all that kind. Let's just do this real quick. Let's go to Andrew listening to us on line 1. Andrew, how you doing today, man? What's going on?
Good afternoon, Bill. Andrew in La Crosse here, just pulling into a lovely quick trip. Thanks for the recommendation.
Excellent.
So I got a solution for you, my friend.
Yes.
Ball, stick, or wheel. If it doesn't have any of those, it's not a sport.
Okay. So a ball, a stick, or a wheel, or you got to be good to go.
Yeah, you can go ahead and you can start at the bottom and be like, is darts a sport? I would consider dart a stick. You can go up to the top and you've got sticks and balls in baseball and golf. Greatest sports in the world.
What about if it's just a competition? Rather, what you got, again, you got to go to sports side of things and athleticism and such. I mean, that's when you look at an event like gymnastics. Is that a sport?
Well, gymnastics, I would assume if you're on the doing the iron cross on the rings, that's technically a wheel. The ring is a wheel.
Gotcha. Okay. You're giving the exception to the rule. Okay. Yeah, right? I got you. Okay. I see where you're going with this. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for the fun. No, I'm sorry about that. Go ahead.
It incorporates your racing and all that.
Okay. So, all right. Appreciate it, man. So if you're on the rings, that's a sport because that's like a wheel and that's got some racing in it. Although if you're on the rings and the old adage, if you're racing and you got to rub it in racing, if you ain't rubbing, you ain't racing. And I don't want to see the term rubbing when it comes to dudes on the iron cross on the bars. He's just going to grind on you. Oh my God. All right, let's try this again. Let's go to our buddy Mike in West Dallas. Mike, how you doing today, pal? What's up?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Bill?
Doing good, man. What are you thinking?
Yeah, so I wanted to comment on the David Bakhtiari situation. It's just truly unfortunate. I think his career is over at this point, unfortunately. It was a 9 to 12-month injury recovery. It's going on 20 months now, and even Matt LaFleur, he was being vague like he was much of last season, that he doesn't even know if he's going to be ready for training camp. He hopes he's ready. but he doesn't know for sure. And, when he did try to practice last year, he had a bunch of fluid in his knee.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, I think they're stuck with him, for this year and next year. His cap hit is $34 million this year. It's $23 million next year. So it's just an albatross of a contract that you're not going to be able to get from out under until, 2024. So do they have the depth, to withstand that? And who's going to play left tackle this
Right.
season?
Well, you would assume then that Josh Nijman would be the left tackle. You know what I mean? I mean, he was the guy that played there last year and did it admirably. So if it would be, if David Bakhtiari couldn't go, I would assume it's Josh Nijman. But I pray to God you're wrong. But without them giving us an emphatic, oh, yeah, he's doing okay, I think it keeps, and now they may be just playing us, who knows? But I think it keeps a legitimate question mark in people's eye when you don't give the yeah, he's doing good. We're good with that. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. And if it hasn't healed by this point, what makes anybody think it's going to heal,
right,
in the next few months, if it's already been 20 months? But
Yep.
then my next point is Romeo Doubs. I think he has a legit shot at starting this year for the Packers, because when you look at their wide receiver room, I think Watson, I think he's pretty much penciled in into one of those three spots when they run three deep at wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those two other spots are completely up for grabs. He's looking good in OTA so far. He's made some good contested catches. He's great off the line of scrimmage. And he brings that vertical threat that outside of Watson, they just don't have right now at wide receiver. So I think at worst, he could step into that MBS role. And then if Watson is good, he can kind of be like a quasi two number receiver. So, I mean, what are your thoughts? Do you think he has a legit shot at starting?
I think right now, both of them do, just for the fact that you're throwing darts at a dartboard to see what actually sticks. And I've liked Doubs. The chatter I hear about him is more positive. Christian Watson has all the tools. The problem with him has been the fact that at times his concentration will wane, and suddenly he gets a case of the drops. Doubs has been a guy that a lot of people have talked about, just said, hey, he just needs a legit opportunity. So, but I think they've got two decent receivers, but as far as being a guy that can stretch the field and be in the downfield guy, I don't know yet. We'll just have to wait and see. The big thing with a new wide receiver is not necessarily their speed, but it's their technique. How fast can they get out of a block? How well do they run the routes? And if they run the routes really well and crisp, how quickly does it gain the confidence of the quarterback? I mean, those are the three things.
Sure. Yeah, no, I agree. But the one thing about Doubs is he's great off the line of scrimmage. He's great in getting off press coverage. And that's something that really translates well to the NFL. You don't need speed to do that. You just need quickness off the line of scrimmage to beat your guy. And once you beat your guy, I mean, as long as you're a 4 or 5 speed, you can get open.
Yep.
So overall, I feel good about him.
Yep. No, I would completely agree, man. Appreciate the phone call. 877-867-1670. Jeff says, do I consider wheelchair racing a sport? Well, going back to our caller earlier, Andrew, it's got wheels. Yes, it would be considered a sport. Now, are we talking about people that have that handicap that have to use a wheelchair? Or are we talking about just doing it for fun? Because those are two different things right there. You know what I mean? Seriously? But yes.
Andrew did make some good points, I'll say.
He did. When you just want to kind of consider it a stick, a ball, or a wheel, it's a sport.
But then how do you define a stick?
Right? He considered a dart a stick. So the dart league would that be the dart and jarts league? So then you would consider tennis a sport, pickleball a sport. It's got the word ball in it, right? You would go in that direction. There's a lot of things you'd get into.
But like cornhole, there are no sticks involved.
No, that you're right. So, okay, cornhole, no. There's not a ball. So boy, that's a great question.
So what about like cross country and all that stuff? Are your legs wheels?
Well, that's what people yell, good wheels.
Right.
Oh, now you've thrown us into a whole conundrum. There we go. So anyway, let's do this. We'll step away. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. Final segment of the Bill Michaels Show. Stay tuned. We got more after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Glad to have you. Mentioned our friends at Burn Pit Barbecue this past weekend, remembering those a Memorial Weekend. Also veterans and such, military members, their families, and our friends from Burn Pit Barbecue. Military veterans who started their own business right here in Wisconsin, and it's taken off. They have done extremely well. And they have been featured on Home Shopping and QVC, and they're being recognized. And all you got to do is track them down. BurnPitBBQ.com. That's BurnPitBBQ.com, and give them some support. And not only are they a local business, but they're a veteran-owned business. And kudos to them for being now 2 years. It's coming up on the 2-year anniversary, as a matter of fact. 2 years into this, and great guys, great people, great product. I mean, the product itself speaks for itself. Not just because they're veterans or because they're local, but it's really good. So whether it's the sauces, the hot sauces, the rubs, the barbecue sauces, whatever, they got a lot of great stuff at BurnPitBBQ.com. That's BurnPitBBQ.com. I'll say this. Look, people are all crazy now. It's the stick, the ball, the wheel argument. Okay, great. I'm just telling you right now. You know what the difference is between a sport, a competition, and a crappy weekend thing that you do to drink. I think we know what it is, right? We know what it is. So for people that are going nuts, it's like, look, I don't, you know, I don't care. People are all up in arms. How can you say that? And then they're talking about Usain Bolt. Usain Bolt's an athlete. I know that. I'm not going to take that away from him. Hell no. Running is a competition. It's one of the oldest of time. You know, that's what they used to do. Gladiator, Romans, Colosseum stuff. It was running, you know, it was doing whatever you needed to do. So, I mean, just, you know, I'm not taking that away. People are just getting mad. Not at all. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Cliff says, I think that some of these people are crazy. They want to make it as if a sport is the same as a competition. They are two different things. We all know that. If you are sweating, if you're grinding, if you're running, if you're sprinting, if you're hopping, if you're jumping, you know what a sport is. There are things that are sporting that aren't necessarily sports. But let's get off of this and get on to what really matters, and the fact that I cannot believe you did not see Top Gun 1. Cliff, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't see Top Gun 1. As far as the rest of the world goes, in the grand scheme of things, I don't think it matters. Just saying. Oh, my goodness.
My bad.
Yeah, people get tagged about the you know, triggered about the easiest things. It's like, no, I'm really, yeah, I'm okay. I'm good. I'm good. Ben has not seen it either. What other major movie have you not seen, Ben?
Oh, man.
You know, like people get all over me because all I saw was the original Star Wars.
Yeah, I really should not answer that question.
Right? I don't get bent over a lot of things.
I've never seen Seinfeld, and that raises flags.
Really? Okay. You know what? Seinfeld can be kind of an acquired taste. Even though it was one of the most popular, you know, sitcoms of its time, it still can be an acquired taste. I understand that. You know, I don't know. Just, I love it when, Jesse says, I can't believe you haven't seen Top Gun, one of the best American-made movies of all time. It's about America for America. Are you un-American? Or you say, well, I saw Rocky, and I saw Rocky fight the Russian. I was rooting for Rocky. Does that mean I'm American again? Just, oh, my God. Brandon says, I don't think Ben was even born when Top Gun came out. The first one, were you born then?
When did it come out?
I don't know. You got to Google it. I have no idea. The original.
Oh, not even.
Yeah.
Oh, not even close.
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't think so.
Came out in 86.
Yeah, I was going to say it was late 80s, early 90s, but I wasn't sure. Jeff says that means you've never had the Festivus poll.
So I know what Festivus is because it was a day on this radio station.
Right.
You know,
right.
I know the references and the context. It's also one of those things that because I haven't seen it yet, it'd be weird if I started watching it now.
Okay. Well, there you go. Oh, what else do we have? Just stuff of the weird. Guy says, were you at the Eric Church concert this weekend? No.
Yeah, he was playing sports.
It was kind of like a Matt LaFleur answer, wasn't it? No, I wasn't. No.
I'm just waiting for LaFleur to start bringing the questions back on the reporters.
Right?
Hey, you going to watch the match tomorrow? Are you going to watch the match tomorrow?
Yeah, I know. So, I mean, I get it. You want to see if your head coach is going to be watching your quarterback, and okay. But for the most part, it's like, no, it doesn't matter. If Matt LaFleur says, no, I'm not going to watch it, then it stirs up controversy because they're going to be, he doesn't like Aaron Rodgers for not being here. And if he says, yes, I'm going to watch it, then it's going to be like, he's saying it's okay for him not to be here. People just read something into it. Because we're all
I would go a step further. Go ask Chris Middleton if he's going to watch. Oh, he's not watching? Is he going to get traded for Kyrie?
Right? Oh, what else do we have here? And that's it, really. I don't want to get into all that stuff. There's craziness afoot. Oh no, I didn't mean to click on that. Our buddy Steve says, by the way, tomorrow, don't forget, cut down day in the NFL. Going to be interesting to see if any wide receivers get set free. Yeah, June 1st tomorrow. Cut down day begins. That's when teams are going to say, wow, we're now. Oh, by the way, the name of the Black Widow, Jeanette Lee, the real name of the Black Widow. Giving a shout out to the UW Stevens Point baseball team as well. They went to the D3 World Series. Begins Friday in Cedar Rapids. They defeated UW Whitewater in the Super Regionals over the weekend. Says, have a good day. That's our buddy Kevin listening to us up in Mosinee. Can't forget about that. Jeanette Lee, I forgot about that. The Black Widow. She was the billiard. I don't want to just say pool. She was the billiard champion, which is more of a competition than it was a sport. What?
Should I respond to that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's a stick and multiple balls.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's be real here.
Okay. A stick and multiple balls. All right. There's so many jokes that I could pull right now or say right now, and all of them would get me thrown off the air. I would not be back tomorrow, so I choose not to. Coming up tomorrow on the program, we will get a little bit, I'm sure, more into the match. We'll talk about the Brewers and the Cubs coming up tomorrow. The OTAs will continue on, and after the first two ugly plays of OTAs, will Jordan Love get any better? We'll get into that tomorrow as well. So we got that coming up. We're going to get some more NBA coverage, I'm sure. But we are right now entering the doldrums of just the long wait into the NFL. But God knows I love baseball. I love everything else that's going on. I'm not going to get into the sport of boating. Oh, my goodness. Oh, goodness. All right, that'll do it. Let's get out of the craziness that is. Until we return tomorrow, 20 hours away. Time for us to get out of here.